现已上市。上京东搜赛事预测，使用 AI 预测，助你赢1000元耳机。我在场就是主场，莫兹利安为 LPL 奶一口。全新 OPPO Find X8 系列夜景人像神器，夜拍超清晰，人像 MVP。TCL 全屋智慧家电，峡谷英雄敢为不凡。2025 LPL 官方指定家电产品，更受电竞用户喜欢的能量饮料，有能量当然占马。傲风电竞椅连续5年中国电竞椅销量第1，开一局吗？开就开，保护有度，尽情开一局。感谢全场保护的杜蕾斯。酷睿 Ultra 200HX AI 高净游戏本，游戏本的6边形战士。
欢迎来到2025英雄联盟职业联赛第3赛段，让我们有请双方战队登场。
Welcome in, everyone. Sam and I will be just getting ready here in the background. Welcome to another day of LPL action. Whether that's here on Nymaera or also here on Onivia's highlight channel. We're live in 3 different locations, bringing you all the best LPL action. And perhaps playing some horse game along the way, you never know. Life hits you hard sometimes.
首先欢迎微博 Gaming Tap Tap， 上单 Breathe， 打野天，中单小虎，下路 Light， 辅助 Crisp。接下来，让我们欢迎 Anyone's Legend。上单 Flandro， 打野 Tarzan， 中单 Shanks， 下路 Hope， 辅助 Kale。LPL 第3赛段常规赛组内赛第5周第7日第1场比赛 WBG Tap Tap 对阵 AL 即将开始 ，LPL 无畏进巅峰。
Hello. First game today, Weibo, Anyone's Legend. Weibo looking a little better recently. Anyone's Legend looking a lot better recently. Smashed Invictus Gaming the other day. And of course beat BLG too. Now the BLG series, questions about it, maybe. BLG probably should have won that series 2-0. Their late game shot calling was, less good than we expected. You know, for a second I had flashbacks to earlier this year and I said, well, we'll get into a 1v1 for side select. No longer the case. We're getting straight into that draft. May as well turn the camera on. Let's get into that draft, shall we? Oh, yeah, this thing down here. If you do want to support us, you can scan that QR code. I'll turn it off for now, though, because it's a little bit obnoxious in this one for the draft purpose, anyway. Trundle gone, Varus gone, Pantheon and Azir gone. What else is important? Stuff like Talia up and available. And Talia, yeah, Talia, even agnostic, I mean, technically works. Even without the Pantheon, it's very, very, very strong. Invictus Gaming have let go of JJ. That means BLG has another jungler to add to the list. I actually made a tweet about that just before we went live. I did the whole BLG wants to know your location thing. Actually, I was pretty happy with it. Let me show it to you. Is it going to focus on it? BLG wants to know your location. I personally found it very funny. Look, Gwen's made his way through the draft. That's probably more important than me talking about a meme I'm fairly happy with. It's going over towards Breathe, Flandre. Suppose he could go towards the Scion. I actually think the Scion's better matchup into Gwen than people realize. Gwen doesn't kill tanks in lane as easily as she used to. Stuff like the Ornn and the Scion actually give her a pretty hard time because the early power is a lot less than it was. The Rumble will come through anyway, though. That's a pretty well-trodden matchup. Both these are team-fighting AP top laners. Say that the Gwen does have split push as well, of course, but both of them do have a lot of magic damage to bring to team fights as a primary kind of thing. And also, thanks for the stream streak, Mecha. I hope you're doing well. Tarzan goes towards the Wukong. AoE setup for that champion in the top lane. No surprises there. You don't want to pick something like a Poppy into a Wukong necessarily. I suppose you can. Yesterday, Weibo played insanely good in the first game, then back to their original self in games 2 and 3. Yeah, that's been a little bit of a Weibo experience. It's a little bit of a Weibo experience. Yeah, they lost the series 1-2 versus BLG, of course. That was their last outing as well. That was a strange old time it was. Light gets Kai'Sa. Worth noting, there have been rumors that Weibo have been trialing out other AD carries due to Light underperforming a little bit. Or perhaps other issues. I don't know about the actual reasoning for it. That's normally what it means when people are being trialed, right? But you're saying that Assume was getting trialed, and which raised a lot of questions to me. Nico in for a dominant laning phase. I say dominant. Yeah, no, it is fairly dominant. If you get rid of something like the Nautilus now, it's quite hard to play against the double range and the poke of the Kai'Sa and the Nico. They're also very good wave control. On the other side, though, the Annie-Wukong combo has been completed. The AoE magic damage of death solo laners have been locked in. No Galio to stop that. You actually can to a certain extent. What about the rest of our bans? Well, there's an AD carry needed for Hope. Do they ban Sivir? Do they ban Xayah? Now you are jumping in with Kai'Sa and the Nico. What's the plan? Even something like Ezreal wouldn't be an awful ban here. Taliyah banned away from Xiao, who's surprised they made it through into the second round, actually. Taliyah has been first pick worthy by a bunch of teams. Yeah, AJ, good to see. Rel banned away from Kyle instead. I mean, he is an insane engaged support player. Kyle, I think, even with the slump of anyone's legend, I think Kyle has still been playing pretty well on his own. Sivir likely to get locked in. I suppose Corki is better for the laning phase, Sivir is better for the scaling. Do you really need scaling when there's 3 squishies and likely 1 more locked in from mid lane? You could just go with the Corki. I think he'll have enough damage, actually. You know, Annie, Rumble, Corki. The 1 to 2 item spikes on those champions is utterly obscene. I actually don't mind the Corki here. Normally, I'm a proper Sivir lover. That champion is super broken right now. And you'll be glad to know, everyone, it's finally the heat wave's over here, so no longer in 35 degrees heat. To cast these games in, Skarner locked in. Gives you a tankier frontline. Good 1 to 2 item spikes to kind of contest the other damage on the other side. This would be a slight winning lane. You are quite vulnerable to flash plays later. Flash Cyclone, Flash Tibbers, Equalizer over the top. Be good for the first few levels. And Kyle, think about his last pick. Now, Bard is better into double ranged, and he does lock it. Alright, it's rare that we see Bard in the LPL, comparative to many other regions. NA always was a big Bard region. Hello, Trev. As of course, Korea. Korea has a lot of it as well. So this is a pretty early game comp from both teams on the whole, if you think about it. You know, the 1 item mark is going to be pretty huge. I think Weibo, I don't know, I think scaling is not necessarily the question of this draft. It's more about execution. The early laning phase is going to be huge. The Orianna hopefully allowing Weibo a bit more pressure there against Shanks on the Annie. Anyone's legend. They hit 1 item, start throwing fights around the map and getting advantages. I think they'd be very, very happy. However, Tien and Skarner managed to catch people out, force flashes, not die himself. I think they've got themselves their own angles. Fairly even in the draft for me. I'll see how it plays out on the Rift. Hey, thanks for the stream streak there, Jake. Let's get into the game. And let's see how, see what the rock is cooking. How did I say that about that? Questions. Anyway, into game we go. Welcome in, one and all. Let's hear how those gyros sound today. Oh, Cork is so loud. Did we get any Weibos in there? We did. Volume on the clean feed's being a little bit strange today. No matter.
全军出击！
Shahu traded on level 1. Phase Rush will Shanks an extra backstep, but then the Clockwork Wind-Up starts to come through. Doesn't want to be the third Q at level 1. Yeah, that's a bit much there. Shanks is probably getting a little bit better at that trade. Typically Clockwork Wind-Up works out in favor of Orianna, but Annie just spamming Qs at you tends to hurt a fair amount. Wait 1 second, I'm going to close my window. It was cool. Heal blown by Crest there in the 2v2 just as I go to step away from the microphone. As is tradition, got to do it at the worst possible time. Kyle on the Bard, doing well so far. With that in mind, forcing that summon up. Is Bard good here? I think Bard's good here. We've got champions like the Orianna and the Nico who can get caught out by it in mid-game. It's less about the mid-game power in this draft though. I feel like it's much more about the laning power and the ability to move around the map. You know, if you get to deliver Wukong Annie into a good engaging position with the Magical Journey, things get a little dicey for the other side. One of those things about Bard as well, by the way. Sometimes I think about him as a semi-global champion. You know, the ultimate's a long-range engage, but that's not necessarily why I think about it. His Magical Journey, particularly if you think about the wall behind Dragon Pit and Baron Pit, can cut a journey by about, I don't know, 5 seconds or so. He's very quick at allowing his team to move around the map if they are on the same page and in the right position. Also, I've been trying to add, what's it call it? A new emote to the stream. I haven't been able to. Just know, if you ever see Amazing, it should be in there. And for this, I am sad. Dive into the bot side as I look away. Easy kill. Tarzan getting that first blood for his team. Initialise going forwards. Can he flash forward for a final kill? No, he can't. Now he's left away from his turret. Does that change anything? I don't think so. Light burning, no summoners. Crisp will die. Light and Crisp getting punished by Tarzan Kyle. The early movements of AL always been one of their stronger points. Tarzan Kyle, that duo really, really being the engine room of this team. Thanks again, just trading well in this mid lane. Just moving about the map now, lane swap coming through. but weren't both Hope and Light both AD for Iwandi at some point? That is a question. Yes, Hope, I believe, was on WE with Iwandi for a bit. I can't remember about Light. Yeah, apparently they are. Apparently they were. I can't remember both of them. WE Hope, I remember that one because I remember casting that. Fun fact, by the way, I've beaten Iwandi in an ARAM. Yeah, I think he was traveling for an event once, and I ended up beating him there. Weird stuff. He was on the European servers for a brief while. Yeah, and yep, I remember that. So they were traveling for something or other. Ult in that mid lane, not uncommon. Now looking for a dive topside. Tien, fairly tanky with the giant spell already. Can tank this up fairly well, and we'll start to do so. Roots in easy as you like. No summon is even needed to be used. Easy kill, Flandre. There's such a loud rumble voice as he dies. Oh god. Oh man. Tarzan will start the dragon on the other side. Top side again. Oh my god, Flandre can't catch a break. This time he has the ultimate though, and Light will have to flash out a turret. This time it's a lot better. Can he flash forward? Oh yes, he can. The overheat, not quite there. Doesn't have the extra damage on the auto attacks, but doesn't need it just yet. We'll go overheat very, very soon. And we'll probably just die before it comes through. A 1-for-1 in the top side. He does clear out the wave as well. Light going down and blowing both summoners. Not what Light wants at all. This Kai'Sa not getting value out of this game so far. Breathe. Using needlework for the slows. Tarzan not in range for the E, would have to flash inside the W to get the target unlocked for that. Not able to do so. Cross-mapping. Very much everywhere now. So this is what happened after the teleport. Had the level 6, had the ultimate. Clears the full wave. Crisp has to back off. Tien, we said, oh, he's fairly tanky right now. Well, he doesn't want to tank it at that point, and then, you know, a couple tower shots later, flash heal from Chris tries to save his AD carry. He doesn't quite manage to do so. Flandre gets a huge play there. Hey, Rizzo, good to see you. This lane swap initiated by Weibo is so good for AL. The thing is, they still managed to get 2 kills onto Flandre. They've managed to avoid the Bard Corki laning phase a little, which was a problem for them. Now the thing is, I actually think the idea of the lane swap is the correct one. I think that Weibo should have gone for that. However, I guess my issue is just the execution of it. Even in gold across the map. Leading top lane to Flandre. He's managed to get a little bit of gold from that kill, of course. Same amount of farm-ish. 80 carries, about even. Tarzan's going to get the grubs. Does he get all 3? Well, does have smite. Tien walking over. Could be a smite fight. I think it's going to be 3. Yep. Tien not there in time. So tower pushing, very effective now for anyone's legend. And this is a problem for Weibo. Because typically, they are a team which like to cross-map. They like to trade things. And while you can do that when you don't have any grubs, if the enemy team takes a dragon, you can take a top lane out of turret, etc., etc. If you want to take an objective and then anyone's legend want to trade at that point, or you don't want to fight them, if anyone's legend get access to a turret, it's gone. Gone in a single wave when you have 3 grubs, especially into mid-game. What do you mean, the frickin' cannon? Don't use spamming that. Ugh. Cretins, a lot of you. I have a chat command in my Twitch chat, which shows you how many cannon minions I've lost. Well, it doesn't really. It's just if you type cannon, it says I've lost a cannon. Chat gets to decide, I suppose. Shahu going for the Rod of Ages. Orianna build, interestingly. Wants to be a bit more tanky. He needs to flash out of that and does. The T1 Bard skin. Flashes up the logo as the ult just goes wide as Xiaohu gets away with his summoner. Very close to hitting him, even with the flash. Sam's never punched a mic either? I know. I know. Crazy how he's never managed to punch a microphone, which we've never talked about on stream before. Good morning to everyone across all of our chats, by the way. Currently live on Twitch, YouTube, and Onivia's restream highlights as well. Get yourself settled in. We've got 2 great series today. Weibo versus Anyone's Legend first, and then we have Top Esports BLG second, especially with Top Esports and BLG getting rocked a little bit recently. This is quite an important one to right the ship. Top Esports lost to Invictus Gaming yesterday, and BLG lost to this team playing here, Anyone's Legend, not too long ago too. In fact, they dropped a game to Weibo as well, and we were wondering whether Weibo would take the series. Both of these teams, despite being 4-5 and 5-4 respectively, have managed to shake the foundations a little bit. Very good games today, you see. Yeah. Anyone's Legend. Ooh. Utilizing the Annie pressure very well, actually. Shanks has been dropping ult on cooldown, as you kind of do as early game Annie. One of the reasons why Annie's been doing quite well again recently is the fact that she can just dump her ult pretty much on cooldown, early game, get control of a lane, and you don't have the HP to fight back. You're not solo killing, but what you are doing is just providing a ton of pressure where the Orianna has to step back. You know, if the Annie Tibbers goes onto the minion wave and the enemy champion, it's instant wave clear as well, and you're fighting against a wave against you. It's a real pain. Taz is going to start the dragon, second one of the game for them. With the chunk onto Xiaohu, he's not going to be able to push a bot lane and contest. That should just be free play onto this dragon onto the bot side. Flandra doesn't have ult. Might well just die here. Where is that Impale? Does he need it? Nope, don't think he does. That well, I call me a liar. Flashway from Flandra. Is there anyone else coming up to his side of the map? I mean, there's a Nico that... Oh my god. If he gets far enough away, he can teleport out. How have you managed that, Flandra? He will teleport out to safety. A true SOAS experience. Flandra makes it out alive. That is illegal. Weibo will teleport up their Orianna towards topside, but the 3 grubs from Anyone's Legend, we mentioned this earlier, cross-mapping against 3 grubs sucks. Full tower from Anyone's Legend will be taken quickly. Flandra, will he get up there in topside in time to make a difference? I think he will be, actually. Got to wave clear out the last of this wave. There is a shockwave from Xiaohu. At the last play, easily won, though, the race by Anyone's Legend. Top tower will be taken, though, by Weibo. They give it the first tower. So the feats of strength go over to the side of Anyone's Legend. But they do manage to share some gold between Breathe and Xiaohu. Rod of Age is already built up by Xiaohu. Breathe working his way towards that Rift Maker, which is so commonly see, of course, on the Gwen. There was a while when we saw stuff like Malignance on her, actually, at points. That was kind of funky. And then Shadow Flame, obviously very powerful too at points. There was a Storm Surge and a Lichbane build. There was an Electrocute Gwen build. Oh, worth noting as well, Gwen's gone for the Conqueror, not for the Grasp. We've seen a lot of Grasp Gwen recently. Conqueror, though, gives you so much extended fight potential. We're still fairly even in gold, you know. 2 dragons to Anyone's Legend, 3 grubs. Yeah, the objectives are going their way, and it does feel like they've been getting the better of the actual map movements, but... Strong Gwen. Cull about to pop on the Kai'Sa. Weibo are not in a position where they can't fight. What I need to see from Anyone's Legend is for them to, you know, really punish Weibo as they look for their next kind of bits of pressure. You know, when we get up to around the Herald, when we get up to around the next dragon, I want to see Shanks again, just dumping that ult on someone if it's appropriate. Or Anyone's Legend using their ability for Bard to create angles, catch someone out before the fight comes through. You should really be angling at that Flashless Orianna, for instance, or trying to force the flash the next time it's off cooldown. Three grubs a real threat from Anyone's Legends. They start to push in on different lanes as well. Rumble uncontested in top lane right now. Tarzan walking up here. Tries for some core keep. Does some damage to that tower. And Kyle goes back and gets himself, not goes back, he gets himself the evolution and a support item. Wait, Nico clone can blow up the Bard shrines? I never knew that. Holy crap, I didn't even realize. That's new tech, Nico. Bard counter denies the shrines. Crazy how that works. Forcing their way into river are Weibo. Skarner's pretty tanky. Has himself the Heart Steal. 1 stack on that already. Aim of I could see. Weibo do manage to brute force their way into the Herald side of things. AL not ready to play that fight just yet. Teleporting up the Annie. He's level 11. That's important. Does give you a lot of extra stats to play around. Xiaohu's core doesn't have the flash just available there, and she just did. Good disengage coming there from Chris. Bree getting crazy damage down on the Gwen. Remember, it's the Conqueror extra fight damage, but you got to be able to live, and he can't. The shockwave comes through, but it's not enough. Exhaust starting to fly. Equalizer is going to open up a red carpet for Hope to roll on forward. Xiaohu has flash, but I do not think it will save his life. All he does is extend the pain and suffering just a little longer. TM will go down. Anyone's Legend find the first fight of the game, and it is huge. Tibbers will tank the turret. Chris, I do not think you're making it out of this alive. Anyone's Legend finding an awesome fight around the AoE team fighting damage. Weibo will see their support die as every single member dies on the top side of the map. There's no even return kills. The only kills which Weibo got were the ones onto Flandre in the lane swap scenario early. They dove him twice. The catch out Xiaohu, he has flash. Chooses not to flash there. Chris, it's not bad, but you can see that Weibo is still kind of preoccupied with starting to kill the Herald. Breathe jumps in, uses his E, but he's got nothing left at that point, you know? No one else is providing CC. I really think there should have been an aggressive shockwave as Breathe went in. Came in a little too late. You needed to buy another Q, another E perhaps from the Gwen, and maybe that would make a difference. Or the Impale, of course, would have made a big difference. I think Weibo getting a little too split between killing the Herald and taking the fight. Dragon now available, but Weibo will have to fight this one from behind the game. Shockwave is back off cooldown. Most of the ults are back off cooldown. Especially with Impale coming back up now. Every single ult available again. Bumble teleporting in. Weibo starting to take the dragon themselves. They really don't want to allow this soul point. Equalizer coming back up in the next second. Shanks walking up 2. Doesn't have flash. Might not need it. Cyclone comes through. The damage starts and the Tibbers misses. Don't think it'll matter. The Impale's pretty good though. Shockwave comes through as does Nico. Well, I just don't think the damage is there though. There is just no damage. It's not awful from Weibo. Kill back goes on to Light. Light manages to get something there, but he'll die for the attempt as well. Anyone's Legend, he'll walk forwards. I don't think it'll take that much more to close down the kill. Light is snuffed out. Anyone's Legend take another huge fight back to back after that Herald, and will take the Dragon's soul points. Doesn't even matter that Shanks misses his ultimate. Wonder if we'll get a replay of that fight. I'd like to watch some of those bits again. Shanks missed that ultimate, but I've said this a lot on stream recently. We'll watch again in this replay. Fighting around these choke points in River, either this one that Breathe just walked into or the one with Xiao who's hanging around there, those choke points in River determine, I would say, about 80% of League of Legends right now. So nasty. Yeah, the ult misses. The Impale's good, but the Impale doesn't have follow-up. And Chris goes in for an ult after, but it's a 2-man. One of them's a clone, of course, in there, so it doesn't count as a 3-man. Light manages to get a kill onto Flandre, flashes away, but the follow-up from Weibo has been poor this game. It's been really, really painful for their teamfight so far. Two fights in a row, Tien ults someone and there's no damage to follow up on. Yep, and I think that breathes as he jumped forwards at the Herald. I think there was a good angle there. He actually found good damage for himself. There's just no follow-up. Weibo needs to really lock in on these team fights. I think of the mid to top table teams, Weibo have the worst team fighting. Hey, Solar Puppy, good to see you. Atakan spawning on the top side of the map now. route missing from Crisp. I don't think Crisp has necessarily been the problem on the Nico. You have to look at Xiaohu, Breathe, and Light to combo up just a little more effectively. We didn't get an Intercon yesterday. There's always more time for an Intercon, though. That's something you learn in the LPL. Atakan is patient. Atakan is patient. He knows. He knows that there are more opportunities to play more lives of video games. Tien, driving the Herald forwards. It's pretty tanky, of course. But the Bard all goes onto mid lane turret. And that's the end of that. Herald countered by Bard. Yep, that's a fun interaction, which is definitely good for the game. It's been like that for a little while. So Herald doesn't even get any value for Weibo. Flash forward, Shanks caught out. Does have his flash himself. Is it going to be enough to survive? For a little longer, but not quite long enough. Flandra dies again. Not bad from Weibo now. If they win this hard enough, perhaps they can get the Atacana. Flash forward for Kyle. Gets a slow onto Chris, but that's it. 2 for 1. Tien goes down. I think with the Skarner dead, I don't think there's an option to go towards the objective. You don't have the smites. Teleport in from Breathe, wanting to clear out this mid wave. Of course, with the 3 grubs, anyone's legend can really threaten that. Breathe. Will charge up his Q and his E. Clear through that wave. And 3 grubs on anyone's legend means they can just take the turret, though, and Breathe. You've teleported in, and I just don't think that value was seen. Hope will get the kill with a final auto attack with the Triforce. The Q from the Nico. Not enough to kill. As Hope will take the magical journey away to safety. Barrier on that Kaiser W. Yep, I would have done so, mate. That's some, as Foxtrot would call it, squeaky bum time. It's, yeah. You clench a little, and you hope for the best. 3-0-10 on the Corki. This Corki pick for Hope was one of his worst picks at the start of the year. Hey, Rafa, good to see you. Hope you're doing well. I mean, the initial pick isn't bad from Weibo. It's just Tien gets caught out on the other side. If Tien lives through this, you can go towards Atakan. That is the real tragedy of this. If Tien doesn't die, you can get a clean objective afterwards. For once Weibo get themselves a... Rumble, stop crying. Jesus, please. It makes me feel so bad. Oh, God. Oh, man. But Weibo can't get themselves that clean exit from the play. Lose another 2 under the tower as Breathe tries to stop the 3 grubs from killing the turret, and things fall apart. W just short. Oh. Hope barriering. I mean, let's be honest. You'd rather use it and not have to need it than not use it and have to need it. Of course. Did this Rumble skin? Just all of the voice lines as he dies. The scream is... It's getting to me. Breathe will take a bot lane out of turret. It has no Nash's Tooth, but does have a bit of attack speed. Light come down as well. Objective bounties for Weibo. Well, I guess giving up Atacam and Soul Point and 3 grubs. Yeah, that'll add some value onto anyone's legend, which is not necessarily shown in the gold at the top of the screen. Look, a 3,000 gold advantage. It could be worse. It could be worse, but all of the extra objectives make it much less good. Another objective guarantee taken by Weibo, actually. They're losing towers on the top side of the map, though. Take the dragon, stop the immediate soul. It's not the, of course, strongest soul as Camtech, but occasionally is incredibly valuable. Anyone's legend do give a decent amount of gold over to Weibo by doing that, by the way. For each objective bounty. How much is it per objective bounty now? Is it just me tonight, Alex? So for the first series, it's just me, and then Sam is coming in for the second one. I mean, do you want to hop in, Rafa? Do you want to hop in? You can if you want. I ain't stopping you. You feel like a just a little bit of treacherousness, a little bit of traitorness, a little bit of treachery. Hey, you said that you were going to do the second series, Sam. So, I'm taking the opportunity to, plant the seeds of treachery, you know?
But do it. Get in. Get in.
Do you remember the, did you ever play Hearthstone around the Grim Patron era? Everyone, get in here! Whenever Grim Patron took damage, it would summon another Grim Patron. And what that would mean is that if you had things which did 1 damage all the time, you could get a full board of, like, 3-2 Grim Patrons. It was sure something, Sam. It was sure something. Well, anyone's legend, taken a lot of very good fights, and Weibo have not been that coordinated. That's been the big problem here, is that we've had a couple of good impales or a good jump forwards and breathe, and then just the rest of the team's not on the same page. You know, there have been some rumors, folks, that Weibo have been trialing out different AD carries for reasons as well. I mean, of course, we haven't heard those reasons. I say for reasons. I'd hope there's a reason, but feels like Weibo are again just trying to find themselves answers to the problems they're going through right now. They're not as good team fighters as the top teams. They're struggling to find that spark which carried them to Worlds in previous years. Of course, they don't have that. Hang on a second. They're going to go catch out Chris. But okay. Not sure about that one. He was recalling on Vision. We'll stop the recall from Chris, but ult now down. Oh, good. Sam's offering me a drink. He's trying to do it silently so it doesn't interrupt the broadcast, but I like to, yeah. All right, Rafa, you just message me on Discord when you're ready. We'll get things set up. So Rafa will be joining us for a series today. Damn, that is a pleasant surprise, I tell you. God, I haven't cast with Rafa in forever, you know? We did a couple of practice casts here and then. You know what? I'm actually not sure that Rafa and I have ever done, like, a proper cast together before. This will be a first. We've done did a practice one in off-season a little while ago. You know what? I'm looking forward to it now. 2,000 gold over to the side of Shanks. He's at, of course, a massive point of Magic Pen with level 16 just around the corner. He'll have, what, 20% pen from that. Bloodletters will get some more. And Baron started by Weibo. And I suppose if there's time for a Desperation Baron, it's when the objective bounties are up. Only 3,000 gold behind. That's a lot of damage from the Baron. You can't stand in and say, oh, we Baron ults will start to stop that leash. Doesn't stop it completely. We are into a flipped scenario. Into the low HP. Who gets the Baron? Impale comes through. Where's the damn spot? It goes to Tarzan. Of course it goes to Tarzan. Shen will die as Weibo leave the Baron looking for a pick. They don't find it. They don't find the Baron, and they're going to die on the retreat. Hope will jump forwards in anyone's Legend fight. Everything they ask for. A triple kill to Hope, as Weibo find none of that either. Everything is lost for Weibo. Game 1, a tragedy, a terror, a loss for Weibo. With 3 Krups, this might be the end of the game. Like, unironically, they could stick around and look for the end. They have HP bars. There's desync death timers. I think Anyone's Legend could look for the end of the game. Jesus, where did this come from? Anyone's Legend taking no prisoners here. Inhib will die, and that'll be about it. Alrighty, let's bring Rafa into the call, and let's see if we can get him on board. Howdy, Rafa. How you doing? Let's share the screen with you and see if we can get on the right page. So the Baron was stolen. The team fight was a whole thing. Weibo have somewhat struggled, we shall say, to play out this game.
Oh, okay. I see a feed now.
There you go. Cool. Right, we'll hope that's fine then.
Yeah!
Everyone welcome in Rafa. As, look, I'm not going to lie, mate. I think this game doesn't have long for the world. Weibo just teleported in.
Yeah, we're chilling on the side here. Flandra now doing battle, flashing away, and now Breathe might be on the run. Good-tempered Fate landing right on top of Xiaohu. Here comes the Cyclone, a Pop Blossom, all for naught. I mean, Chris, you're going to try to do your best to salvage this situation, but these guys are almost 10,000 gold down. Anyone's Legend coming back with vengeance. And now, this just might be the start of a second rebound series where Anyone's Legend are returning to prime form.
I love that you bring up that point. Anyone's Legend, there were so many questions about them. Perhaps some people preying on their downfall. Because, you know, they've rocked the ship a little bit this year. They're walking towards the Nexus, and they're looking good in this first game.
Anyone's Legend. It's a nice way to kick things off here in our first series tonight on this wonderful, very beautiful Sunday morning.
Well, we got you for about, you know, a 10th of the game there, Rafa. I got to figure out some volume stuff to equalize you out there on that. But yeah, everyone welcome in Rafa, a good friend and also a representative of LPL English as well. I am going to have to do a whole bunch of random stuff on the fly to make sure. So basically, if I click off my OBS, you won't be able to see the stream. That's fine. I know that now. And we'll figure that out for the next one.
That's totally A-okay.
How awake are you feeling?
Well, I woke up 20 minutes ago.
Nice.
I took my dog Choco out so that he could take care of some business, and then I tuned in to a lot of the streams just to see where we're at, and yeah, you know, we're we're kind of on
Yeah.
this fuck it, we ball energy, just to kick off the morning. Because I stayed up last night and we had the 9-game back to back for Saturday series. So I didn't get to go to sleep until my local time around 10 a.m., which is about, I think I basically stayed up for more than 32 hours at that point.
Jesus.
So I was just dead. I was dead. So
that is
and I
well,
yeah.
I mean, I appreciate the grind. Sometimes it do be like that in esports, really.
Very true.
Right. Trying to think what to do during the break. So typically, what I tend to do in the break. Wait, Rafa, have you been introduced to a certain game called Uma Musume? Have you been introduced to the horse racing game without horses?
Horse racing game without horses?
Yes,
no,
horse racing game without horses. Well, that's wonderful because you may get to experience some of that now. Actually, I have no idea how I'm going to get that stream over to you. But that's okay. It's what I've been doing in the break because I need to do something to keep myself sane. Now, if you would imagine a world in which horse racing is done by, instead of horses, just people with horse ears instead, and they're just doing track and field.
I'm
that
opening
is
up your stream again.
yeah,
Hang
yeah.
on.
So
Let me see this.
Uma Musume, every single character is based off of a real life horse, which I'm sure you're very, very interested in. You'd love to know more about the history of each of them, and don't worry, you will learn. You will learn. And we do that during the break. Also, I want to get your opinion on this. Earlier in the year, Hope's Corki was kind of shit. I actually think it's up there with one of his best champions now. But I remember in Split 1, back in winter,
Yes, Split 1.
I remember him jumping into top esports 1v2 and dying. Like on repeat. I think that was a big play in the finals where he jumped into Jack Love Draven. Remember that one?
Yes.
He jumped into like both mid, like he jumped into Cream and Jack Hill at the same time, just immediately died through the game. That's what I thought he would show more of. But credit to him, he's actually really leveled up on this pick.
I mean, overall, his trajectory 2025 has been awesome. I was kind of skeptical of Hope back in Split 1, even when Anyone's Legend made it all the way to finals, and even during their performance in the Demacia Cup. But as soon as I saw this guy kind of astroglide on Kai'Sa, and I know that's like a typical LPL AD carry thing, right?
Hope's
Like
is
if
a
you got a
special,
nice
yeah.
Kai'Sa, that's a special one. But I can't remember the actual series, but there was one fight in Split 2 early on week 2, maybe week 3, and I distinctly remember.
Was it the mid lane one?
It was around Dragon. Like, everyone from Anyone's Legend was dead.
No, I remember the one.
Kai'Sa-
Yes. Because he had that, and it was like the quadra kill, and then's the one just after that in mid lane. He had like 2 insane fights back to back. Yeah, I've got a couple of clips of it somewhere actually. Yeah.
Like, he still died, but because he took out so many people with him, it delayed everyone's tempo on the map so that Anyone's Legend could reset and redeploy back and still play out the map. And I was just like, holy fuck, Hope, I didn't know you were nice like that. And so I have felt an oversurge of confidence and belief in this guy, even when the chips were down at some of their series against T1 and Genji at MSI.
Your Twitch chat is Rafa Casts, right? With 2 A's on Rafa?
Yeah.
Cool.
Yes,
Well, I
sir,
didn't see this
yes,
title.
sir.
Do not feel good about not having you in the title. Anyway, you're in there now. Cool. Damn, I don't know, man. It's been ages. How you been doing? How are things? We actually haven't caught up in forever.
It has been a hot minute. The funny thing when you mentioned that there was only one time we practiced cast, that was the season before I had my first year of LCS, and
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie, I wish I did more practice cast going into my first year.
God.
I have.
Yeah, I think a lot of people really underestimate how difficult it is stepping into a tier 1 broadcast, especially, okay, I'm going to say this, it's a lot easier to do as a pro player, because broadcast treat pro players coming into broadcast a lot differently than they do like people coming from a casting background. Like, because I think with pro players, they have so much game knowledge and so many connections in the scene and stuff, it often kind of like gives them a pretty easy ride into that side of things, and then you have a whole bunch of people kind of fixing things on the broadcast skill side of things. Whereas if you come in as a caster, like, it is fucking hardball. It is pretty hard to get up to speed on that stuff, especially since you don't really get to practice like casting in a studio if you're not in tier 1 in League, because we don't really have that much stuff outside of our tier 1 stuff.
Yeah.
And people expect it to be the finished product as soon as you come into top tier, because let's be honest, League has had a ton of very good casters over time. So if you're not like coming in the finished product, it can give people a bad first impression, even if you are actually very good. It's pretty rough to actually get up to speed quickly.
Yeah, I mean, there's similarities with pro players where if you are not like showing your best stuff day one, then people are immediately already on the back foot about you. They're like, okay, I don't know. And with casting, it's no different. And I think, given the history of LCS in particular, that broadcast has had some of the strongest, and even if they haven't always been like compared to other casters around the world, LCS kind of has a tendency to send a majority of their talent to every single international tournament around the world.
I'd say for good reason, actually. I think, like, I do think though the talent, the talent in LCS broadcast has always been top tier. Even if it's not necessarily like your personal favorite or whatever, you can understand the crazy like level that they have over there.
Exactly. And so because of the amount of times you've gotten to see them over the years, they have become very well known to the global community for League of Legends esports. So because LCS hasn't really brought in new talent as steady of a basis as something like LCK over the years, or even LEC, because I feel like LEC did a lot more in trying to bring up talent every 2 years, every 3 years.
It has done more recently. There was a while where it kind of like died off a little bit, but yeah. Compared to the LCS, LCS had a lot more talent throughput for sure.
Yeah, because when you think about LCS, before I came up, the last play-by-play that was introduced primarily as a play-by-play
was Latigris, right? Gabby?
I mean, technically, yes.
I guess she wasn't. She was there as interviewer, and then I guess she kind of
secondary host.
God, who was the last play-by-play then?
Flowers.
Jesus, he's been there since like 2015, 2016,
17.
Right? 2017.
Yeah,
what?
He came in toward the tail end of 2016 to interview, and then he officially started getting cast in spring of 2017. Because I thought there was maybe someone else that it came, but Dom, who then eventually went over to LPL. I think.
I remember Dom actually. Yeah.
Dom was before. Pastry Time was before, and then the two other play-by-plays that were like the mainstays were Riv and Freak.
Yeah.
And they had been there since the beginning.
Yeah.
So Flowers was the last primary play-by-play brought into LCS.
That's insane. That just in my head, that just doesn't. It makes sense, but it just doesn't. It just feels strange, you know, when you actually put it like that.
Yeah, and I didn't think about that as like a factor in how people don't like that. Yeah, people react very differently to change, really. Yeah, I think LEC, because of the actual LEC rebrand, where there was a bunch of top tier talent which did quite well coming in, because you had like Ender and Frosk kind of come in at a similar kind of time, Dracos as well, right? They came in a little bit later. LEC had some well-received kind of top tier broadcast talent come in, so then people were a little more receptive to it. And then, particularly in 2022, they had an actual pipeline of a solid NLC broadcast, to then go, and EMEA Masters as well, to then go up into LEC, so it made it a lot easier to kind of have that pipeline through. So then we had, like, first off, really there was, like, Gulborg and Trouble, who both came up at the same time. I came in a year later than them in 2022, and then, like, Jamada came up at a similar time to me as well. So you kind of, like, had about us 4 on there at the same time, ish, which meant that, you know, you even if you did like one of us, you'd probably vibe with one of us, hopefully. And that meant that, it was a little easier to swallow that. Also, the thing about the LEC is that they often kind of like had a lot of time to put them onto the analyst desk or something like that first, or do like one cast and then kind of work things in beyond that point. So it wasn't like they were
with a play-by-play, it's very different, right? Because you're just immediately on the most important part of the broadcast, which is the games. And, you know, if you don't like that play-by-play or whatever, like, you're stuck with them there, you know? Whereas if it's the analyst desk, you don't feel as bad about turning off the... Like, I mean, I remember when I first went onto the analyst desk, there were people... There was a whole bunch of, you know, negative comments as well there, right? I mean, luckily, I was received pretty well there. But I think what really helped is the fact that having a day or two on analyst desk to then work up into doing a cast meant that they had that kind of slower ramp up into getting used to me, right? But I think it's easier for someone to go from analyst desk into cast than just go cold turkey straight into the... into that. Unless they come from another region. If it's from LPL and they're well known from that has helped out, say, someone like Hysterics, or who else did that from LPL? I think it would have worked out for Munchables. I'm really sad that he never got like an LEC/LCS role. So I think he did really, really well.
Yeah. I remember that the year before, during the summer 2022, when I was what I consider the peak of my casting in a professional level. I was doing NACL. It was still LCS Academy back then.
Right.
I was also doing Wild Rift Esports, and Wild Rift had their first, or well, not their first, their big world championship, their only world championship.
I'm so surprised they never continue with that, by the way. I'm so surprised,
well,
but I'm sure there's a bunch of stuff that you can't mention on that because whatever. But like, I'm very surprised that Wild Rift never went further.
Yeah, I mean, I can disclose this because it's kind of like a open secret now that just Riot was just too late to the mobile esport space.
Oh, that sucks.
Because because here's the thing. When Tencent first approached Riot about trying to create a mobile version of League of Legends, this was like back in 2015, 2016.
Oh, this is the Honor of Kings stuff, right?
Correct. And Tencent's like, hey, I think it would be really profitable if you guys did this. And for whatever reason, Riot's like, no, we're not interested. Or no, we don't want to put the resources into that yet. We want to just focus on League and making that big. Because to Riot's credit, League of Legends was starting to just now pop off, and they probably wanted to just ride the wave and make sure that they were giving everything to its biggest tournaments for Worlds, and with the introduction of MSI a year before, they just wanted to give everything to that. So Tencent said, okay, fine, we'll just do our own thing. And so then Honor of Kings is created, but it's only a China-based game. No global, no global server, whatever. So then that continues. Then a company called, I think it's Moon10 or whoever makes Mobile Legends. Mobile Legends is created.
Mobile Legends Bang Bang.
Competitor, Mobile Legends Bang Bang. And that game gives the advantage of being a globally played game, or at least it's just no longer based in China. And it grew a huge population player base in Southeast Asia because everyone has a smartphone, and the game did not require that.
Oh yeah, by the way, like I went out to Thailand at the start of the year, and like I was in Bangkok, and I like while I was on the public transport and stuff, you see people like either playing TFT or Mobile Legends, basically, like that kind of thing. Like just everyone plays that shit.
Exactly. Like everyone has access to a smartphone, but not everyone has access to a gaming PC. And because League of Legends was getting more and more game intensive or PC intensive over the years as it got nicer and nicer, Mobile Legends was just a nice alternative because the game quality, at least at the beginning, was, but it worked, and that's all that matters. And it was functionally a copy of League of Legends straight up. And over the years, Mobile Legends has now tried to do their best to like push their unique identity and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But by the time Riot introduces Wild Rift, we're in 2020 for the first year of Wild Rift being released. That is 5 years after the mobile esports landscape could have been capitalized on. And I always believe in 3 laws of success. You either be the first, you be better than the first, or you cheat. And we never cheat in this household.
That is a pretty good way to phrase it, actually.
Yeah. And Riot, unfortunately, was not the first in the space for mobile esports. They tried to be better than the first, and I thought because they had done such a nice polished product.
We got a draft.
I'm going to wrap this up.
We got a draft. We got a draft. So into game 2, Weibo, Anyone's Legend. First game, can't describe it as anything but a stomp. Anyone's Legend, they look to be rebounding very, very successfully. And Weibo, despite them having some decent series recently themselves, they took a game off of BLG. They were looking pretty solid against Team WE as well, right? Outside of W's, you know, golden one game in a series. They all need to bounce back here because that was humiliating first game.
Yeah, just even tuning in for the last 10 minutes, it looked like it was absolute destruction for the side of the Pandas, and at least it's nice for them to continue showing this form. Now, there was a bit of a Game 1 Andy allegation being settled towards Anyone's Legends way earlier in the split, and then they would drop series, and that wasn't a good look. So hopefully the Pandas can continue up this form and demonstrate an absolute beatdown the way that they were able to do so against IG earlier this week.
So in terms of the OPs left up right now, Talia screams itself to me, Pantheon as well, so we're likely going to see that duo split up unless Anyone's Legend wants to ban one or the other. They banned the Talia, Pantheon potential first pick, but also Trundle is available. That is a big red flag. Most teams do not know how to deal with that champion.
Yeah, and there's still tanks like Ornn left up on the field, so whichever team decides to go for the Trundle instead of the Pantheon gives you the edge of being able to say, well, we get to guarantee a top lane tank for ourselves. Otherwise, you guys, if you try to pick a top lane tank, we're turning that thing into balsa wood.
I've actually been thinking about Trundle in particular in draft a little bit like chess openings. Because there are a couple of different lines you can take to the Trundle, and this is one of them. If you think, okay, you've picked a Trundle, you want a tank top laner, Aurora can be the anti-tank top laner, and much like in chess where you start to answer in slightly different ways, thematically, it feels like this learning has started to come through here in the LPL. They do snap up the Pantheon, that's fine, it's a power pick, whatever. And they're waiting to see now, Weibo, if you lock in a tank top laner, we can move that Aurora into the top lane itself, and we can lock in another mid lane, and you can play a zero tank composition, because that means Trundle loses a lot of value there. Just looking ahead in that side too, I know there's a lot of point on going down the rabbit hole. This is where Alistar gets really broken too, because Trundle can't deny Alistar ult. So Anyone's Legend would realistically want to go towards that, but potentially Weibo could take that themselves here on 3. That's not a bad answer for them, actually. They could just say, well, we're going to pick the Alistar right now. You don't get to have that one tank which gets to annoy the Trundle by having damage reduction instead of resist. So you can see the mind games playing out here.
And a majority of the tank supports that get destroyed by Alistar are still left and would be power picks if Alistar was selected here. But Weibo not going to even go down the tank line, just say, all right, well, we're going to take a Yorick instead, try to give ourselves some split push power. This guy can also be quite a menace in team fights later on if he's able to get to the 3rd, 4th item stage. And Anyone's Legend, well, since it's not a top lane tank, it's more than likely just going to be a bruiser-on-bruiser matchup with Renekton for Flandre.
I think that's a mistake by Weibo. I think that's a little bit of a mistake. I think you could have safely locked in your own tank top laner, have a much more stable team fighting shape for your Victor. You have someone like the Ornn in that front line. And while the Renekton is now locked in as well, you know, the Renekton does well into that Yorick. Did you see that game yesterday from Xiaoxu? He was absolutely exemplary on that. Just destroyed the enemy Yorick. It is not necessarily an easy winning matchup for the Yorick. Eventually, you know, if the Yorick gets ahead, it will start to go out of control. But I wonder whether Weibo should have just stuck to their guns to say, we have Trundle, tank top laner. Ornn Trundle is a fantastic combo because of the pillar smash. Not the case now. And I think Anyone's Legend are now in a better position than they were.
The second round here, it's all about support bans and bot lane picks trying to diminish the pool that is available. When you consider what Weibo already have now, you have a lot of terrain control, thanks to Pillar, thanks to Dark Procession. Gravity Zone also works as well, but you have no engage. And because they didn't take the Ornn, things like Alistar becomes a big priority here, but they're not going to get a chance to snap that up first since Anyone's Legend gets the first pick in the second round.
Anyone's Legend banning away a lot of anti-melee, anti-dive champions in terms of the Renata and that Braum. That's maybe signals that they want to go towards a bit more of an aggressive composition themselves, have another diving partner in there. You do already have a Renekton Pantheon, it's likely that they go towards that. Jhin banned away from Hope, which is one of the better follow-up AD carries. Now you don't have... yeah, and we already talked about the value of the Alistar. It's pretty likely to get locked in here for Kyle, honestly. Might go towards the Rel side of it. I don't like that as much. I just think the Alistar value into the Trundle is so much higher because, again, he just gets to be an actual tank into the Trundle, which is not something Trundle's used to playing against.
Hope, why you gotta tease us, bro?
We exactly. All know what you're like, oh, we could look at a Nautilus or a Rel. Like, okay, and they're gonna get Trundle altered and just eat dirt. Okay, just lock in the goddamn cow.
At that point, I feel like they're just taunting Weibo. It's like, hey, see all these other tank supports? Yeah, it's gonna get smashed by this Alistar. Nice. GG, well played.
Okay, so Weibo looking to finish off their own bot lane, lock in that Sivir. Sivir has been so ridiculously good recently, and I think against this kind of triple melee comp with a lot of people diving in, as long as the bunny doesn't assassinate you, Sivir does run over these fights eventually. If you get to 2-3 items, Sivir Victor is incredible backline damage. Now I just wish that they'd given themselves a goddamn frontline. I just wish they had an Ornn instead of this Yorick. If you had a platform for this mid ADC to play off of more successfully with the tank, I feel like they'd be in a much better position. The Rel is pretty stock standard, has an okay laning matchup into the Alistar, brings you some engage and peel, and you're quite a safe tank support because you can crash down backwards as well, leaving Hope now to counter pick AD carry.
Like you said before, one of the big options for anyone's Legend is to pick something that can follow up from long distance range away, which is why Hope is going for something like the Senna. You know that the Sivir's trying to wave clear and try to not interact with you as much in the laning phase, so Hope throws down the gauntlet and say, okay, you want to scale? We want to scale. And this gives you that late game insurance policy, because when you look at the top side of the map for anyone's Legend, it's a fairly aggressive setup. And I don't want to say that there's no late game scaling for Aurora. She becomes more lethal, but Pantheon and Renekton, the game gets harder the later the game goes on.
Particularly when it's Pantheon, Renekton into stuff like Sivir and Trundle. You just become a bullet sponge eventually. Anyone's Legend will need to make sure that they're winning lanes, that they're moving around the map effectively, and they're snowballing this game before the Victor and the Sivir start to take over realistically around the 2 and then the 3 item mark. Anyone's Legend, they have a little bit of a timer on their team composition. They are good enough to play through it. The coaches will fist bump on stage. We will get ourselves onto that ref to see if they can clean up what has been, you know, the start of a very dominant series. Anyone's Legend, it's taken a little while for them to kind of get back on form, but they're looking solid here this week.
Oh no, my stream.
Sorry, I had to tab out so I can change the volume, because I manually change the volume when we go into game.
You're totally good. Totally good. I completely respect it. Well, both compositions are locked in, loaded up, ready to go. The players are queuing on to Summoner's Rift here for Game 2. Weibo really need a way to fight back. They have the late game scaling on their side to see if they can hold out the storm, but anyone's Legend in their current form is looking like they are back in that defending championship light that they were able to prove just a couple months ago. Ladies and gentlemen, it's time for anyone's Legend taking on Weibo for Game 2. Let's hit the Rift.
As we wait out our customary gyos here, I will say I'm obligated to mention nothing beats beat to Jet 2 Holiday, that's one, but nothing also beats Qingdong Gaming's crowd leader as well, their chant leader. You know that guy, the Qingdong? I need that guy to just commentate my life. I would get so much more done. Fight over a ward at level 1.
Are they going to be okay? There's not really any CCs taken by any of the anyone's Legend members here, since Tarzan needs to go for that Comet Spear for a nice clear on the level 1. So it's just a bit of trading, a little bit of HP lost in the aftermath. But Breathe will not have a chance to get any HP or reset back, so he's going to walk to lane down a couple hundred HP here.
That is a problem, because the Renekton, where you start to really get value in that top lane matchup, is at the very early levels. You can't really afford to let that go. That light mistake there, by the way. The Ricochet going on to a lot of champions, but that last minion he threw it onto didn't get the Ricochet across the wave. Does lose you a little bit of wave control. One of the big things about the Sivir is it's instantly deleting the wave, and it potentially gives Kyle and Hope a little bit easier access to level 2 when that comes around in the second wave.
Kyle just being a nuisance, not allowing Light or Crisp to set up more of an advantage state, trying to control the bushes here. That's the extent of my bot lane knowledge there, Nymaera. I do not ever touch this lane when I'm playing solo queue.
Hey.
I'm usually playing around mid lane, and when I see the bot lane is fight like this.
You know what? I'll give you some freebies, a little goodie bag you can take away. The reason why Sivir is so broken right now is she starts W, instantly deletes a wave, and it doesn't matter what support is, she gets them through to level 2. That's why we see Sivir with Alistar so much, because she wins the early lane for the Alistar. Now, the thing about Alistar is, Alistar has 0 wave control. You can sometimes polarize the wave. Realistically, you're not going to see that. He also doesn't have ranged auto attacks. He doesn't really get to do that much damage at level 1. The way that Alistar can sometimes win lane, and Vampire's actually quite good at this, by the way, is just headbutt you away. Just press that W. That's effectively used like a ranged auto attack to say, I'm going to trade at the level 1. You can't do that into lanes like the Rel, though, who can stop you with that Q as you go in, and you get stunned up in front of the AD carry. Or, of course, the Sivir, who gets to do so much damage through you on the Ricochet as well. But that's kind of the bot lane meta that we're seeing around these two particular champions right now, and it really does impact things because we know how much a level 1 shove can do. Light gets the easy level 1 shove, goes back for the cull, wants to immediately scale up. I think he knows exactly what he needs to do this game, which is reach 2 items and be a pain in the arse in team fights later.
Depending on how well Breathe can hold this freeze on Flandre, it might put him... I know the term we use is jail.
Tien.
Hang on. Tien is also here on the top side of the map. Uh-oh, Flandre. Can he get a double slice and dice through either of the champions here? He's forced to flash, but the pillar comes out, and yeah, we should... Oh, wait! He gets the slice and dice through Tien! The flash from Light continues it anyway, and at first blood for Weibo Gaming.
A double roam up to the top side. I guess they didn't expect the Sivir to be there on that wave as Flandre goes down. He died twice in the early game, last game too, because Weibo hard focused on that top lane matchup. Weibo get themselves a lead into onto the top side of the map. Breathe presumably will just teleport down bot side. Yes, he does. He'll collect a wave there. Weibo, not a bad opening to this first part of the game.
Now, Anyone's Legend, as a response, they know that Light doesn't have Flash. Barrier will be available, but Tarzan and Flandre, the power of that empowered W, can break through the shield if he uses it correctly. He's forcing Link to tank up the minion wave as much as possible, and he just gets the solo kill because Light realized, oh crap, there's a Pantheon, I'm dead anyway.
Weibo don't send anyone to support their cold start. Level 2 AD carry. Hits level 3 partway through that trade, but Weibo should have sent someone to protect the Sivir on that side of the map. Giving Flandre back a kill after he'd just been killed himself is a big mistake by Weibo. Shanks now getting aggressed on by Tien. Doesn't have the flash to force this.
Shanks is forced to flash here. Tien, will he be able to pull up another W off cooldown?
Tarzan?
Is there a laser available from Xiaohu? Tarzan will stop him in his tracks. Tien gets stunned up by Tarzan. Things are getting dicey here, but Flandre's around the loop. Crisp is also here, pops the heal for the movement speed. Flandre goes in, empowered stun onto the Tien, and now the Troll King falls, but Flandre's gonna go down next, surely. No way he gets out right. No way! Do they not have enough? Q flash from Chris guarantees another kill for Xiaohu.
Bloodbath in the early game. 5 minutes, 4 kills. That is the LPL I'm here to watch. Xiaohu gets himself an important kill here, and that's something that anyone's Legend would have wished they didn't give over. Victor is at that other scaling carry, which of course we haven't talked about because he wasn't involved in those early kills, or of course the death on Light as well. But for Victor, getting a kill gets you further towards your first upgrade too. It allows you to get something like an empowered E or Q, just a wave or two before you really should be able to. 25 stacks when you get a kill or an assist. Anyone's Legend, they do come out with 2 kills on their Renekton, who's, at a point of power in this early game, yes. But I'm worried about the gold they're giving over to the scaling factors of Weibo here.
Yeah, I love you bring that up because Anyone's Legend, we talked about it at the beginning of the draft before getting into the game. These guys are on a timer here. You've got some late game insurance with Hope Senna, but he has not been involved in any of these skirmish scenarios, so he doesn't benefit from the chaos that is happening. And Weibo are saying, well, you know what? Yeah, you guys are getting kills, but we're also getting gold for ourselves. And as long as they are going even blow for blow for the first 15-20 minutes, that's a perfect game state.
It's worth noting that Hope has got a big CS advantage because Light died on that top side wave crashed them. So Hope does have that. What that means is that Weibo don't really want to have the Sivir matched up against the Senna necessarily. I actually think Hope can walk beyond the wave now and threaten him. As it stands, going into 1v2, Alcove Gaming, but against Breed's wishes.
He's still got a flash. He throws down the Dark Procession, gets rooted up by Hope here, pulverized by Kael. Breathe.
Flandre?
Want to burn the flash. At least he is still healthy enough that he can hold on to his summoner spells. Not sure if Flandre was trying to catch him out on the other side. Just
I think he was, because Tarzan just hit level 6 at the same time. I think if Breed didn't back off soon enough, there would have been a Pantheon ult heading into his general vicinity, and he would have been under threat. Of course, keep an eye on that now. Tarzan, an incredible player of the Pantheon, and with that ultimate, he gets that ability to turn up and make a mess of things. You can just kind of be on call right now. Weibo, they don't have Flash on Trundle for the next little while. Light doesn't have it either. Those are exploitable targets, which Tarzan, as on your screen there, might just head towards and make an issue of things.
Not sure if Tarzan will be able to pull off this red buff steal. He does have Flandre pushing in the wave, but he's nowhere close to try and start fighting Tien off of the red buff here. They're going to still try and go for this objective, and Tien is now conceding control because he already sees that Kael has moved from mid lane. There's no way that he can secure the red buff. While we have this opportunity, Alex,
yes,
I want to see Tarzan's first Grand Starfall be useful, because the past 3 Pantheon appearances in our past 3 series have been dreadful. They have achieved nothing. So I want to see if Tarzan can at least find something good with this Pantheon pick.
Yeah, I think he's like the only person who's been that successful on the Pantheon recently. Might have a fight over this. Pillar will stop Kael. Does have that flash and ults. Nothing comes of that. But yeah, Tarzan has been our best Pantheon in the region.
Haven't found the use for the first use of that global ultimate yet, but Tarzan has had a lot of control using the power of his laners and the way that they have been able to give him priority and control over the neutral objective so far. They have not gone for the first dragon of the game, but it's grub time now that we are almost 9 minutes into the game, and it doesn't look like Weibo will get a chance to get a single one from the Pantheon.
I mean, Tien just hit level... wait, did he just hit level 6? I thought he saw the level up from that, but his XP is way higher than that, so that's obviously not the case. 3 grubs that go to the side of anyone's legend. I just had a complete blue screen. I don't know why. I was just like, Tien, just hit level 6. Surely that's wrong. I was just completely mistaken. It happens when you're sat here watching so much LPL. You start seeing like the different timelines of the future. It's like our own little mini Dune effect. If you huff enough LPL spice, you start seeing things in weird and wonderful ways.
You have your own time stone, and you're seeing all the alternate timelines in the future.
You know, apparently the navigators from Dune, you know, the people who just kind of like constantly high on spice and then do all the calculations for that, that's what inspired the Astropath navigation for Warhammer 40,000 as well, apparently. Which doesn't surprise me. Most things which are dark sci-fi do come from Dune at some point.
Yeah, because Dune was like the first big sci-fi film of the modern film era, no? Or
Renekton's teleporting up here to maybe deal with Breathe. He has Flash. Hang on a second. Well, he won't have Flash anymore.
Well, sometimes you see the ultimate in the teleport, and as a top laner, you say, "Yeah, I'm just gonna go, guys. You got my Flash. You got me."
It's like, wow, you got me. I guess I'll just use the summoner. It's always better to use it and I'm just gonna be done with it than go down elsewhere. Aurora's now teleported onto the bot side of the map from wave clear. Doesn't have that ult, should still be safe. Dragon is available. Of course, you were saying earlier, the early dragon hadn't been started. Anyone's legend instead choosing to go towards the early grubs. Does mean it's still up and available. I think basically Weibo don't want to go towards the dragon, and this is something which I talk about quite a lot on the stream, is that the worst thing about dragon is how much time it takes. With AP junglers being out of the meta that which used to take dragon and grub so quickly, you have to invest farming time into taking something like that dragon, which a scaling team like Weibo doesn't really want to do. They just want to sit in lane, get farm on the Victor, get farm on the Sivir, farm towards the Cull as well. They don't really want to throw things to an early dragon. They'd rather just say, look, we're going to scale up. Let's not waste time on an objective which we could rather be taking minions over.
That's why I love Maokai, man. Bramble Smash is a hell of a drug. Percentage max HP damage on a fairly low cooldown. But unfortunately for them, they went for the Pantheon. While he's great at securing objectives with that execute, it does take a while, as the only max HP damage you're getting is from that W, and that's not a fairly short cooldown. So right now, both junglers are still saying, we don't really care about this dragon right now. We're trying to accelerate and get to our first spikes so that by the time we start fighting each other, we're at our strongest points. And as we take a quick check-in across the board, Rod of Ages is already starting to accumulate here for Xiaohu. Trinity Force locked in for Tien. Sundered Sky for Tarzan. Still waiting on first item spikes for Flandre and Shanks, as both of those solo laners took pit stops either for tier 2 boots or an Executioner's Calling.
And on the other side, Bree's gone for the Bramble Vest too, so he'll be a little delayed on his first spike. You really do need to get towards that try. Hang on a second, here's our first ult of the game. You want it to be useful? Let's see how it goes.
Dive under the tower. Xiaohu's in a world of trouble. The flash away. The Dawning Shadow is not going to save him this time, and that's the feat of warfare picked up for anyone's legend.
Yeah, it's a 3.5 V1 as Hope goes in for the kill on the ultimate. Gets that last hit with the Dawning Shadow. There's not really much Xiaohu could do about that. Could have dropped the ult, I suppose, to do a little bit more, but it felt a little bit futile at that point. Breathe will teleport over, collect the wave, which Xiaohu is missing. He'll presumably walk out of base towards topside instead. Anyone's Legend, are they going to go towards Dragon? Nope, they don't want to waste time on that either, I suppose. And Weibo will lose a member, collect a wave, feel a little bit sad about life.
Tarzan, thank you for showing us how and when to use a Grand Starfall.
I appreciate that it's in combat up with Kyle as well, because the special thing about anyone's Legend is their jungle support combination. Kyle pops that ultimate, tanks it, so they're at the right timing. There's no safety for Xiaohu. Xiaohu goes up towards topside to farm up that that wave. That does leave anyone's Legend in an angle to contest Dragon, actually. But they don't have the Victor. Dragon is going to be taken, though, quickly enough, and anyone's Legend will not be able to catch Weibo red-handed on the objective.
We got Rift Herald spawning in the next couple of minutes here. Because the first dragon was delayed, at the very earliest, a soul will be spawning in about 15 minutes time, closer to the 28-minute mark. That is a very late soul.
And that's great, because for Weibo anyways, great for them. Do we get a fight around here? No pillar coming through. Always quite hard to tell, actually, when you still have Rel with a bunch of stuff and the Trundle pillar in there too. Weibo have the first dragon. Sol's going to be late. Weibo can just give up dragons now up until you get to 3 items, and maybe they just win through that. Cole's about to cash in. Yes, you are 1,000 gold down on the Senna and the Renekton. That is not a good thing. Anyone's Legend, they have the early game advantage that they need in terms of the actual fighting power. The question is now, how much can Weibo afford to give up and actually survive through to those 3 items?
Chang's already pressuring on the top side of the map with Kyle hovering around just to protect on this turret push. First brick has not been secured yet, which is the next big objective that AL would love to go for, and it would guarantee feats of strength overall completed. And these are the ways that anyone's Legend need to accelerate the pace of the game, because as we continue stressing before, if the game goes slow and Weibo don't have to give up much and just make minimal sacrifices, the game state is still awesome. So anyone's Legend, the onus is on them to just find and start taking some risks to force some windows open if Weibo are not giving them clear ones to take.
And they do have the tools to do so. Hang on, level advantage for Tien. Has that ultimate to pull into Tarzan if it gets too spicy. Doesn't choose to. Tarzan trying to secure the Scuttle Crab. And he gets it. He'll get his XP back. Level 10 to level 10. Herald is spawned. Weibo, do you choose to give this one up as well? Giving 3 grubs and a Herald. That one's pretty rough. You're going to lose a huge swathe of the map if anyone's Legend do manage to take that objective successfully. So Weibo will want to make sure that doesn't go over easily.
Thankfully for Weibo, there are a lot of camps for Tarzan to farm on the bot side of the map. Oh, is he going to look for another Grand Starfall? Yes, he
There's
is!
a camp in bot lane, Rafa! There's a camp!
That's right.
It's
Who cares
called
about
Yorick.
my blue buff?
Yorick, the extra jungle camp, takes a second ult of the game, gets the center of it onto him too for the extra damage. Breathe flashes, does not save him at all, and this Yorick has just not been useful. Potential counterpunch from Weibo here.
Kyle might be forced to flash. He starts with the ultimate first, using the damage reduction just to give himself the resistances necessary to survive the encounter against Weibo. They'll have the opportunity to look for the Rift Herald, but anyone's Legend have already taken the first brick off the map, and here begins the snowball for the Pandas.
That is a problem for Weibo. There shouldn't be a contest over this. I think this will be dead before the time anyone's Legend get over here. But Flandre now has an insane advantage. He's got that first turret. They get the feats of strength. He's up 2,000 gold. And I just wonder, why this blind pick Yorick was picked? You had the Trundle. Perhaps you could have gone towards an Ornn and the Trundle. Yes, the Ornn is, again, a weaker laner in some matchups, right? And the Renekton can give you issues. But at least at that point, I feel like the Trundle Ornn is very, very happy playing through, again, that same scaling win condition. Regardless of the objectives of the Yorick, it has not helped them.
Uh-oh. Immediate flash from Chris for the flip, and Kyle realizes, yeah, I'm screwed in this situation. Doesn't even bother trying to burn his own flash to get out. It's a nice pickup for Weibo just to slow down the game. It's still an overall 3,000 gold advantage for anyone's Legend.
And so much of that is on this top lane. So wherever Flandre is on the map, expect bad things for Weibo, anyone's Legend. Of course, didn't get that Herald, but they still have the 3 grubs, even if they just tap this. Wow, that's a lot of damage.
Holy, he's going in. Tarzan immediately realizes a mistake I have made is too crucial, and now he forced the flash. The follow-up from Chris, this Pantheon, unfortunately, is way too deep, and some of the over-aggressive tendencies from Tarzan early in the split have shown themselves in this game too.
Hey, his ults have been great. Don't know about that, though. That is not the ult, is it? He tried to hands check Light. If he lands that empowered W under turret before Light can spell shield, he probably does die. However, Light presses the spell shield, outplays him. Tarzan not only dies, but also blows his flash, gives gold over to the scaling team comp. Again, not that anyone's Legend don't have any scaling themselves, but Victor Sivir, you have to mention that when it comes to them. And Weibo, I think they see an angle here now.
Shanks is going to be forced to flash using the Between Worlds just to slow down Tien and put some pressure back down onto the Troll King himself. It's enough that he can actually conserve his Summoner spell, and now Tien doesn't even get a chance to recall safely in the bush as Kyle is here to escort Shanks back on the wave.
Shanks doing well not to blow the flash there, I suppose, but yeah, anyone's Legend. Their gold lead is in that Renekton. If they play around the Renekton, awesome. We'll see how much he can do to push in a side lane, force Breathe to drop even more farm, or of course drop off that wave and come into a huge fight at some point as well. The Stride Breaker onto the double range carries could be crucial. See right here, getting pushed in that bot lane. Potentially goes elsewhere. Start up to that dragon. Wait, no, he's not going to start up. What he's doing is making sure his rage stays alive there right now. So he could actually peel off for that. Oh my god, Renekton jungle? Incredible.
Let me tell you about the stories of Renekton. That's for another stream, and maybe when the series is definitively over here. Everyone's Legends still have quite a bit of groundwork to do, and unfortunately for them, that hands check attempt by Tarzan slowed down the game a little too much for their sake. They're going to have to do a little bit more legwork now to try and continue getting the snowball going. They have yet to break open this mid-tiered 1 turret. That is the next target, but Weibo is doing a pretty darn good job of holding the line here.
That was a Sivir thrown out pretty easily, though, from Light. Little surprise at that. Fight over the red buff now. These choke points looking pretty tasty, though.
Shanks is waiting around the corner just to see if Weibo Gaming decided to overcommit there, but no one pulls the trigger as anyone's Legend return back to neutral form here.
Anyone's Legend, walk in, flex the muscles just a little bit. Weibo lose a red buff from that. Don't find really the fight, which I suppose they were looking for with that Sivir ultimate. Unless you're going to be flashing forwards with a Rel, little hard to land engage from Weibo. That is their main engage option. Yes, the Trundle Pillar can stick someone into a plate. It's quite hard to catch people out, especially when you've got, Renekton that can dash over the pillar. Aurora can dash over it 3 times with WE and ult. The only person you can really catch out easily is someone like Tarzan or Kyle when they get stuck into the plate, and you kind of keep them there. Finding over vision in topside jungle now. Is there anything more to come of this? Maybe.
Tien gets knocked up here, has the movement speed. Oh, Xiaohu is forced to flash away. At least preserves his life here, but anyone's Legend starting to overload on the top side right now as the Otacon did just spawn 30 seconds ago. This will at least guarantee Shanks is able to secure that top tier 1 turret, and further map control is denied from Weibo Gaming as anyone's Legend now have an angle where they can try and force Breeze's teleport to come out just by starting up this Otacon.
Yeah, now, Otacon is a dangerous objective. This is where games go to die, but is there going to be a realistic contest? I mean, Yorick wants to take the spot side turret. Weibo do like to trade for things like this. They might give up the Otacon and instead get Yorick a little bit more individual gold. They're not going to contest this at all by the looks of it. Anyone's Legend, free Otacon. They'll get a bunch of value. Watch out for those XP leads now as well because that's going to start exploding as they get the Otacon extra XP from across the map. And anyone's Legend instead will give up bot lane outer turret and a little bit of HP on the mid lane too.
Oh, big fight on the top side, red quadrant jungle. Chris already going in with the Magnus Storm. Teleport comes in, Breathe is in the middle of them all, but Between Worlds and Flandre on the flank forces Light to run away. Breathe trying to help out his bottom laner. Good dark procession, but it doesn't matter. Flandre flashes over it and takes out the Sivir. Breathe forced to flash away as well, and Weibo Gaming, they gave up the Otacon, tried to take the fight, and it ends up in disaster.
I really think that that is the fight which will lead this game to fall. Weibo were trying to buy as much time as possible, but by giving up so much gold. Now this mid lane outer turret as well. The Atacon just before that. Weibo, they've not achieved their goal of reaching 2-3 items on their AD carries and then being able to fight back. Anyone's Legend, better around the map. Invading into bot side, forcing Weibo back. Then invading into top side, forcing them back. Taking a turret, taking Atacon. And then punishing Weibo as they try and take re-control of the map. This is a killer move. Flandre gets off a vision, empowered W immediately onto the Victor, cannot stand and fight. There's no peel for him. Weibo were too bold, too lazy, really, at retaking the vision. They had just been forced out of this area of the map. You did not have a free entry in there, and they're punished for it.
And the signature flank pincer angles from Anyone's Legend is expressed in full mastery on that topside fight. And from this point on, Alex, it is a 4,000 gold advantage. Yeah, it's not like a huge advantage, but when you look at the tools that Anyone's Legend just got for themselves, compounded with that massive win, a lot of summoner spells were burned. The next dragon is coming up. That's not necessarily a Drake win stacking condition that Anyone's Legend can accelerate the pace of the game, but my concern is they're getting to the point now where they can just overload on these turrets, they can dive with impunity, and Weibo are running out of options to stop them from doing so.
We can see that there's a 10-stack Rod of Ages on Xiaohu, and he's still a level down on Shanks. That is the power of the Atacon here as well. Flandre does have ults. I don't know if he survives the Trundle ult here, but we'll see.
Kills the wave. The rest of Weibo trying to go for the turret first, but now they fully commit onto Flandre. That's practically 5 members dedicated, even with the Dawning Shadow as well. But Hope at least buys enough time because Tarzan is now coming into the play alongside Kael. Do they have enough damage? He takes out Crisp. Tarzan jumps onto Xiaohu on the left side, flashes away, repositioning. Look at Hope, look at Shanks. They're pushing and playing the map. And as long as Anyone's Legend just distract Weibo and keep them dangling here, they're wasting so much time as the Pandas continue to pull and jerk Weibo around the map. Tarzan finally falls, but at what cost?
Weibo get themselves the top lane turret. They get themselves, what, 2 kills out of that, I believe? And they lose just the one themselves. I think this is not that bad for Weibo, given how it comes through. Initially, I was agreeing with you, thinking, well, pushing in two other lanes, that's a good thing for Anyone's Legend. But you have just given up, I believe, a shutdown there as well. It's a bit more of an even trade than I think Anyone's Legend would have wanted, especially given how powerful they are in this game. Dragon is alive, Anyone's Legend. But the respawn of Tarzan and the ultimate available can go towards that as soon as he's back up and available on the map. But also we got to check in now on Hope's stacking. Going up towards 70 at this point, it's not bad himself. He's not really been the main character of this game as he was in the last game on that Corki. What happened here? Was this at the back end of the play? I guess this is how Light ended up blowing... But no, we just saw this again. Why are we showing that again? Okay, cool. Right, we've now seen the play twice. Just in case you knew, Tarzan was there. He did some damage. Forced some stuff out of Light. Cool. Nice.
Yeah. I wonder if the official broadcasters were...
Yeah, maybe.
Hey, what happened to Light? Why did he lose so much HP? And that was just...
I prefer to think I'm going insane. Yeah. Sat there just like... Fair? Yeah, like, well, yeah. Sometimes we question these things just to have our thoughts out loud. Anyone's Legend will take the dragon. Weibo don't really want anything about this. They're not playing for dragons themselves. They've delayed the dragon soul until a lot later into the game, so it's not going to be... That's not going to be how they lose the game, going against Assault. They're going to lose the game through, as you were saying, stack up on towers. I think getting forced out of their jungle as well, as we saw in the last few minutes, is obviously a very powerful way for Anyone's Legend to play the game. Shanks hopping over walls at the 2.5 item mark with the really, really nasty slow burn build from Aurora. Yeah, one of the fun things about the Aurora, by the way, her combo with this 2 items is very, very strong because she can wait to pull back her Q until the full damage up is stacked from the Leandries and the Riftmaker. It also applies to the base damage from her passive, which is a ton of % HP. Aurora gets some random one-shots with what looks to be an anti-tack build. Yeah.
It's a nice way to respond into Xiaohu, who has opted into a heavy HP build, and considering that the top side of Weibo, not tanks, but they are still very durable bruisers with a lot of health in their overall resources. Now, Weibo still trying to climb back from this deficit. They've slowed down the game as much as they can. They've gotten gold for themselves, but overall, the way that Anyone's Legend has been playing the map, trying to contest them on every single resource that is within Weibo's grasp and trying to continue decelerating the overall gold curve is how Anyone's Legend can guarantee this game is a win for themselves in the books.
Now, Breathe at 2.5 items. Both the carries are at 2.5 items for Weibo too. Looks like it's going to be, I mean, it might be Bloodletters for Xiaohu. We've seen a bit of a flex back and forth between what Victors want to go as a third item. We saw a lot of Leandri's Riftmaker for kind of extended survivability, but I think Bloodletters has been more powerful just in terms of shredding that magic resist and stuff like that. Tarzan off of Vision right now, can jump onto the Trundle.
Exhaust, slowing down the Trundle in his path, forced to pop the Subjugate for that HP regen. That's a big ultimate down. He's not going to be as tanky the next time they fight, if it's soon.
Yeah, and there was even a Sivarol pulled from Light as well. Light took a chunk, I presume, from Hope jumping onto him or something like that. I say jumping onto him, he'll probably just fire the orbital laser from the rapid fire cannon rage now at this point. Going close towards Mac rounds, spinning up. Wait, did you ever play Halo Wars? Was that a game you played?
Oh, that's the Age of Empires version.
Yeah, it was
right?
the RTS version of Halo. Honestly, there were just a lot of voice lines which were stuck in my head over time. Anyway, you could fire Mac cannons from space, and it was very, very fun gameplay. Baron now on the table, and that is a worry for Weibo. You can give up a lot. You can't really give up a Baron. You're already losing jungle camps because you don't control the map. Baron makes it impossible to control the map after that point. Anyone's Legend, they're not rushing it, but they're holding Weibo accountable, saying, you gotta be in this area of the map. You can't let this go down. Triple control ward, though, blacking out this area. 4 control wards. There's 4 control wards. How do they even see anything?
Weibo would have to walk into absolute darkness and just challenge. Uh-oh, Kael already punting in Crisp. That is your main engage tool gone. And without the thrill on the hunt here from Light, there's just no way that Weibo can just bulldoze their way through this choke point. Kael and Shanks and Flandre all acting out as the bouncers. As Tien now tries to step up, they're trying to see if they can contest the Baron here. Flandre immediately flashing right on top of Xiaohu. Once again, here's the Grand Star fall. Good night, Light. Good night, Xiaohu. The rest of Weibo Gaming gave their best effort, but their best is simply just not enough against Anyone's Legend at their prime. Breathe will be the last one to fall, and it's an ace for AL at 29 minutes.
There are just worlds of difference between how Anyone's Legend move on the map and Weibo 2. Anyone's Legend have had Weibo playing to the beat of their drum this entire series. Taking jungle camps leads into vision control advantage, leads into stuff like the Baron. This has been, well, I wouldn't say it's a death by 1,000 cuts. It's like being stabbed repeatedly, really. I think that does disservice to the strength of each individual cut. Anyone's Legend looked like they are really, really back on macro form, and that is one of the biggest things that won them their previous LPL splits. You know, at the start of this, you can just see Flandre walking forwards and using the insane advantage he has on the Renekton. Yeah, he got dove early. Remember, folks, he died for first blood. Weibo tried to shut this guy down. Mission unsuccessful. He has completely ran over this game.
I don't know if this is too retrospective, Alex, but when you think about why they went for the Yorick blind pick in the first place, like going for the early reset towards the top side, it seemed like maybe that was just the early game plan from Weibo, and they thought, oh, off the merit of this play, it's going to be enough to put this Renekton into the dirt. But the way that Flandre and Tarzan rebounded and capitalized on Light being pushed up on the wave, trying to hold it, and then giving gold back over to Flandre, and they just lost control, it just seemed like Weibo had no other game plan afterwards. Like, okay, guys, we didn't think we'd get this far, and unfortunately, this was not the line that we thought was going to happen. It's
like, we have failed plan A. We will move to plan B. No, we don't have one of those. We don't have a plan B. We'll move to whatever comes after this.
Tien now getting jumped on by Tarzan as the Comet Spear comes in. Between worlds, just slowing down the opposition. Kael forced to flash, taking up a lot of damage for that turret shot there. The turret does fall. Magnustorm for Chris. Maybe they can try and cook Hope here as Chris flips him. And just the power of this Rel should be enough. No! Hope is still alive and he takes down Chris. It ends up being a trade. But at the end of the day, Weibo have lost too many members to defend the remnants of their base because Shanks, Flandre, and Tarzan are still leading the charge. Tarzan with the battle cry, the Pantheon sings into the skies and allows the heavens to roar down upon Weibo Gaming. The Pandas are backing down, and Anyone's Legend will close out the series 2-0.
Domination from Anyone's Legend, our previous split champions, turning up on fine form this week, taking down not just BLG, but now Weibo as well. we were wondering where the power rankings of LPL stood after the last couple of weeks. Perhaps we're Invictus Gaming the best team, but surely it's BLG. Things are definitely more in question again, because BLG fell to Anyone's Legend. It feels like now they are looking more and more like top dogs. Top Esports will be playing next. They just lost the other day to Invictus Gaming, and they'll be looking to make their own march back again towards the top of the table, keep themselves abreast of the situation there. But all eyes on Anyone's Legend now. Do not be fooled by their game score. Start of the split was poor, but now they're showing the same kind of gameplay that got them that victory on this split just before.
It's a very exciting time to now be tuning back into the LPL as we start closing out the second round robin of this Rumble stage, because we're starting to get the return to form from Anyone's Legend. IG just took their first series against Top Esports last night, this split. So now the race to challenging the top two in what seemed to be unquestionably Top Esports and BLG. I don't know, Alex. Things might be shaken up by the time we get into the playoff stage.
Yeah, and that's for. It's quite hard to put this into perspective, because this is how the LPL somewhat used to be. Somewhat. But if you've only been watching LPL for the last year or two, you might have been fooled a little bit by how the LPL operates. BLG was such a dominant team that no one realistically contested them last year. They were the one team of the LPL, by far. Like, there were other teams which were good, but BLG were clearly the best. You think back to eras in the past, it was JDG and Top Esports before, of course, the BLG kind of era in 2024 and stuff like that. Before that was IG and RNG. Before that was stuff like EDG and RNG, or perhaps LGD back in 2015 as well. We've typically had a couple of top teams sparring off against each other. And if you've only just come into the LPL, where we've had JDG in 23, BLG in 2024, this is back to more what the LPL used to be. Top teams starting to trade wins against each other and leaving things in question. I find it very, very entertaining. There is something about a dominant team which gives you hope for international titles and for something truly great. Royal Roads, potentially, from the likes of JDG back in 2023. I do love it on a regional level, though, seeing actually it's not just AL anymore. It's not just BLG anymore. We get some of these more banger matchups, which feels like, in terms of the actual title race, we've been denied a little bit over the last couple of years.
Yeah, because there's advantages to both perspectives coming into an international tournament like Worlds just in a couple months' time. If you have the one dominant team of the region, then you're putting all of your hope and faith into this team being the one that challenges Gen G, T1, even Hanwha Life of earlier this split, and thinking, okay, is this the team that is going to bring another international trophy to LPL? And then if that team crumbles, you're like, well, I guess that's it for LPL. But when a team or when LPL as a region is very competitive and you have a lot of teams, even if there's not one team that is a clear cut above the rest, at least the love and the faith and the belief is spread among more people, so that you can think to yourself, okay, well, if this team doesn't get this matchup, maybe this team will. And for the better of competition, I always believe in the fact that I rather the best teams get challenged by other stronger teams earlier, so that you are ready by the time you get to the international stage.
For instance, this was a problem I had with Top Esports' first split of the year, where they always showed the weaknesses that they did, but they weren't punished enough regionally for that to show up and actually them to learn from that in time for first stand. Now, I think they actually did a little bit better about that, I suppose, in a little bit since then. Of course, they didn't make it to MSI, so you can argue that, well, actually, no, they didn't make it to MSI, so perhaps you can argue against that too. But say, for instance, Top Esports, they never knew how to defend against an early gank bot lane. They could always fall down to that. And if Kanavi doesn't have lanes with prio into them, he doesn't get to invade, and actually their early game falls apart. So if you just pick safe lanes with good scaling, they don't get to run over you early and then blah, blah, blah. Stuff like that, right? That was something which teams within the LPL didn't really find a way to contest very well, and it took until first down for them to have that hard learning experience. Anyone's Legend have had some hard learning experiences this year already. You know, they lost that first split to Top Esports in the finals, which, you know, I think a lot of people wanted them to go to first stand. They didn't deserve it from that finals. Top Esports deserved it regionally. Last split, of course, they ended up beating their way to a finals through BLG a couple of times, and within the LPL, there's no truer victory right now than beating BLG in 2 back-to-back best of 5s. And they had a good MSI run. It wasn't probably the one they wanted, because obviously they didn't, you know, make it to finals, and they didn't win the title fully themselves. But Anyone's Legend have had that kind of learning experience already, of course, just in the first part of the split. Hopefully they've learned a lot more about how they're doing their drafts, about their macro. I think their drafts have been a lot better in the last week than they have been in this split, which has been one of our big complaints about them. Hopefully, fingers crossed, hopefully this leads to a stronger version of Anyone's Legend after the bruises have settled.
Yeah. And just like further commentating on the MSI performance, losing game 5s, I'm not gonna care. You know, like, it's disappointing, but game 5, Anyone's Legend, that's like the best challenge that you can get, and you have to just go through those experiences. I'd rather that happen in MSI, so that as a whole, Anyone's Legend takes that to heart, remembers that. I don't know if you know you operate like this, Alex, but when I go through some very disappointing moments in, you know, at the highest points of your career, I take that shit to heart, and I try to work my ass off to never feel that bad again.
Yeah, it's a wake-up call. It is, and it can be a real reality check, and I can understand that. Now, I'm not gonna lie, I am gonna hold the game 5s against them a little bit, because I'm like, my dudes, you were favored. Genji was shouting you out the entire time. T1 said that they expected you to make you. All of these things, I've sat there like, you are gonna rue that. You don't get that many of these opportunities. Now, if you do use this to go into Worlds, then we revisit that conversation. If that game 5 loss allows you to win Worlds, because you've learned from those experiences, that's when I feel a lot better about it. But until that actual development has been shown, my jury's out on that, because, you know, the way that they lost those game 5s at MSI was through drafts, which I just hadn't seen from them before, which have worked very poorly, which is a shame, because I thought Anyone's Legend were the best drafting team in the LPL going into MSI, and sadly they ended it with some poor ones on that. There's a lot of caveats. I think Anyone's Legend are on good form right now, though. I'm going to look at their upcoming schedule, actually. Who do they have coming up after this? Because we're not too far until the end of the regular split. We've only got 2 weeks left.
Top Esports on Tuesday.
Oh, cool. Yeah, so they have Top Esports Tuesday, FPX, JDG, and then WE. So realistically, they've got most of the hard teams out of the way. I'm actually quite interested in WEAL, because WE are, you know, they're actually a pretty good team, despite best of 3s not being their comfort zone. And we'll get our MVP as well. Who was our MVP? Flandra, of course, that crap. I mean, we have seen some awesome Renekton games recently, folks. We saw it from Xiaoshu. We've seen it from Flandra now. I think Renekton might be back in LPL a bit. This champion feels like it's winning the parts of the game which LPL teams are actually closing games out with, because you're very, very powerful around the stuff like the Herald, yes, but if you get a lead, Atakan is no longer an issue, which has been such a big throw fight for so many LPL teams. I just realized that's a project that just completely jump scared me. I forgot that Project Renekton has just has a dude inside of it. There's just a regular guy in there.
What the hell?
There's just a regular guy inside of Project Renekton there. Did
it's
everyone see that?
Megazord.
This dude's got a freaking like exosuit. But yeah, there's just a guy inside of Mecha Renekton. That is. Wait, hang on. Did you? For those of you who've watched Doro Hetero, because I started watching that again recently with my partner. Weirdly, that is also a story about an alligator with a dude inside them. Weird how life gets you like that. Oh man, Zucker as well. Yeah, Zucker had an insane Renekton game the other day. I mean, LNG suck as a team, but Zucker was great on their Renekton the other day.
I wonder why that is. I'm trying to think back through the past couple of patch cycles, and I don't remember anything in top lane being directly affected. It's mostly been jungle and bot lane changes, especially with the nerfs around Alistar and Braum were like the most significant ones in armor changes. And then of course, after tonight, are we on 15.16 going forward? I believe we should
tend to go towards the we do tend to go towards them actually, like the live patch fairly quickly. So that wouldn't surprise me. But honestly, I just rock up of an day and I'm like, you got the patch yet? And if not, we roll. That's basically it.
Yep.
Okay. I'm gonna let you go get some sleep, buddy. Thank you so much for joining me for this first series. We're gonna go take a break before we get through the second series. And yeah, you got any shout outs you want to do before you depart?
No. Thank you for letting me be on. Always a pleasure. Good luck to Sam, and enjoy the rest of your morning. I'm probably just up for the day, but I'm just gonna be chilling. And yeah.
Okay. Well, thanks for joining us, and shout out to LPL English as well. I hope you enjoy yourselves over there. I'm gonna go play some. I'm gonna play some freaking horse game. I gotta play horse game. Okay, I gotta go get myself another coffee, get into a break, get Sam in here, and we'll get into our second series of the day. Thank you, Rafa, and we'll see you around. Okay, cool to have Rafa on. You know what? I haven't cast with Rafa in such a long time. He's a good guy. I like him a lot. And you can catch more of his work over at LPL English. So some other sites, shout-outs as well, if you are watching through here. I'll do some quick admin, because I've not done this before today as well. We do have a new sponsor, by the way, League Mastery, which is a coaching product led by Coach Hidon, who is an LEC coach. You can use this to get resources for your own climbing and solo queue, get from One Tricks, and of course from us on casting soon as well. If you'd like to sign up, it does help support us, because a good cut of that goes towards us as well. Scan the QR code, there's a link in chat as well, and please sign up if you feel like there's something that would benefit you. I'm gonna go take a quick break, folks, and we'll get back to it.
So 오늘 2대0으로 깔끔하게 4연승 앞서가고 있고, 그리고 초반에 컨디션 안 좋았을 때보다 지금 점점 좋아지고 있는 모습을 보이고 있는데, 칼님 지금 어떻게 기분이 어떠신지?
전체적으로 팀합이 잘 좋아진 것 같아가지고 이겨가지고 좋은 것 같습니다.
我们整体的部分现在团队的配合也现在做得非常不错，所以非常开心。
非常的开心，终于找回了 AL 应该有的状态。那可以看到第一局是比较快速的一个平推局嘛，到了第二局上路有一波啊，对面 WBG 5个人去抓圣枪哥，上野辅你们3个人其实是拖了非常久的时间的，能够让双 C 足够的有时间去拆掉了中下塔。那想问问当时你们是怎么样沟通和决策的呢？
2세트에서 웨이버 5명이서 탑 프랑드레를 잡은 화면에서 우리가 정글이랑 서포트, 그리고 거기서 시간 되게 많이 끌어줬는데, 그리고 우리 호프랑 미드 1차 밀고 바텀 1차 밀었을 때 그때 당시 소통을 어떻게 했는지 궁금합니다.
원래 탑 1차 막으려고 했는데 제가 판단을 잘 못해가지고 약간 실수한 것 같습니다.
当时我们队内的沟通是要守上路的，但是我判断有点慢了嘛，所以出了点问题。
好，虽然说稍微慢了一点上去，不过你们3个人已经是拖了非常久的时间，让队伍能够拿到足够多的优势了。那我们再来说到今天啊，今天的第一局你是使用了巴德这个英雄，达成了你在 LPL 的第200次出场的成就。那从23年年底你来到 LPL 开始，就一直在 AL 战队和 AL 一起战斗，一起成长。那想问问，在这度过的1年半的时间里面，你自己觉得最大的变化是什么？你的最大的变化是什么？然后有什么想要跟队友和粉丝们讲的？
카일님이 바드로 지금 LPL에서 200경기 뛴 거 지금 축하드리고, 그리고 카일님에게서 제일 큰 성장은 무엇이라고 생각하나요? 그리고 가장 팀원들에게 하고 싶은 말은?
여기 처음 와가지고 200판 했는데 일단 성장한 거는 그냥 공격적으로 할 수 있는 거에 대해서 좀 성장했다고 느끼고, 그리고 되게 200판 해가지고 그냥 시간이 되게 빠르다 이렇게 느끼는 것 같습니다.
他觉得自己最成长的部分就是自己变得有进攻性了，然后在这1年半的时间里，就是非常感谢队友，然后非常感谢队伍。
好的，我们也期待着看到 KO 和 AL 战队一起有更多的成长，登上更大的舞台。那我们这一次的赛后采访到这里就告一段落了，我们也感谢 KO 来到我们的赛后采访。接下来时间一起来回顾一下今天他们在比赛当中精彩的 spotlight 吧。
OK， 我要这个管，要清，大小，我来，准备打架吧，兄弟们，下河道。OK，有人在草地。看见了，接大导弹，我大导弹。OK， 小机场，你们打正面，看接着，快打，接着，可以救。看发条，我开 A， 保下后保。我开了，兄弟。没打你闪，你没打你闪。我在包，他跑不了。 国文再推进，踢中，下个是 B 踢中 ，B 踢中。OK， 上路有结局，就没线了。推上面，就开前排也行。上路没闪，只有上路没闪。上路没闪，上路摸不到线的应该。我看去抹了，看 AD。我有 W。慢点。 升降升降升降。
我在靠，我在靠。
哎，那边抢，往前抢，往前能挡，往前能挡。后慢点，后慢点。
慢点慢点，能看吗？
容易有这越。别，看中单，看中单，没下。先放大，先放大，先一波。
nice，我兜，没事，打得好，兄弟们。
Okay, we back. Now, firm conditions is actually pretty good here. Do you have medium? Do you have medium? Late surger, medium here. Okay, we'll go with this. This is fine. This is probably our 2. I need to remember these 2. Okay, cool. Okay, this is my debuff deck, which I use occasionally. Oops. What am I doing? Yeah, I use that for my nice nature runs. Into our second game. What are we doing? Are we doing 4 speed 2 stam? Yeah, we'll do 4 speed 2 stam. I'm so sorry, Dark, by the way. I do have that. No, I don't want level 35, I'm level 50. Where are you? There we go. This is fine. I mean, I'd rather pace chase and stuff. I just don't have a better speed card than this in terms of value. This is good. Whatever, this will be fine. Wait, hang on. Because it's gold ship, do I want triple? No, screw it. We'll do triple speed. This will be fine, probably. Quad speed, rather. Oh, sorry. Yeah, Dark World, I did see that. Yeah. There's basically... Dark World translated a speed requirement, a stamina requirement thing for Yuma. I guess we go with this. Just for the friendship stuff. Although this could have been a recreation round. 3 on stamina is good. Because we really want to be training speed and stamina and not much on anything else. You don't want to split training that much. Because the more you train a single thing, the more value you get out of it. There's like increased rewards. We go 3 on wit. You need to make sure you have enough wit to not completely screw yourself. Mute up, that's good. Oh, 4 on speed, let's go. Why is the career not 3 years, by the way? It is, isn't it? This is, I actually can't remember what the other option is, but that's practice perfect, so we're probably taking that. Nice sweet home, speed, power, we get practice perfect. Practice perfect is very, very good to get. If you can get positive status effects, get them if you can. They're very, very good. Have 2 summers. One of your summers is in this thingy. Oh, it's a shame. We can't really do much about this. That is really annoying, actually. I actually think it's better for me to rest. I don't want to... This is not useful. We actually rest. Normally I'd run a race during that. It's just not worth it at this point, obviously. Stamina. Although we need more power, too. I was running power cards with Gold Chip. This is power, that's good. Gold Chip OTP. I do that on stream because it's fun. Oh, I don't want to train Guts more than I have to, but there's 4 on it. I hate when these... Oh my god, again? Are you kidding me? Anything but training. This character just does not want to do anything useful. We take the energy up and we hope for the best of it. Nice, cool. 2 on power. We're a little bit low on power, not gonna lie. We go for the energy again. Nice, cool.
欢迎来到赛前采访，我是主持人洛星。在这里，我们首先请到了滔博战队的下路选手 Jackie Love， 你好，先跟大家打个招呼吧。
大家好，我是滔博 AD Jackie Love。
欢迎杰克。那在之前的采访当中呢，你们有提到过，在第
3
赛段
off stream?
这
Yeah, I
一轮
do.
呢，你
So
们
it's a fun
最
game.
警惕和关注的队伍就是 BLG。那今天你们将再次对上，你对于这场比赛有什么样的期待呢？
Rafa subbed in for the first series. Sam's coming in for the second one.
打他们的话，可能就是需要我们自己的失误要少一些。
那如果说你们这次想要成功复仇，从 BLG 手里拿回这一分的话，那你觉得还需要在哪些部分多下功夫？
就主要是在对阵和打团上，我们需要更注意，要打得更好一点嘛，这样才有机会赢下这场比赛。
Oh yeah, we have committed psychological warfare on all of them. All of them have like awful mood, by the way, in the first race. Late start. Whoops.
同样在这里，我们也请到了 BLG 战队的中路选手 Knight， 你好，先跟大家打个招呼吧。
大家好，我是 BLG 的中单 Knight。
欢迎 Knight。那今天这场比赛呢，大家也都非常关注，因为可以说是积分榜的一个头名之争，两支队伍呢都是8个胜场。你是怎么看待今天这场比赛的呢？
我觉得今天这场对我们特别关键吧，就赢了之后就感觉能基本稳定起来。
那滔博这一次看起来也是有备而来的。如果你们这一次想要再次战胜他们，赢下这一分的话，需要在哪些方面做好防守？
我觉得滔博围绕打野进攻非常强吧，就针对 Kanavi 就定心有气就行。
好的，那我们也期待你们今天的精彩发挥。
Oh, hang on. Oh my god, are we actually gonna lose this? Holy shit, that's close. Gold chap. That's a pretty
欢迎来到
fucking close.
2025英雄联盟职业联赛第3赛段，让我们有请双方战队登场。
Yulg. Hey, Android. How's it going? And we run basically our campaign races for the first 2. We don't need to run any others.
首先，让我们欢迎 Top Esports。
This is
上
energy
单
up.
369，打野 Kanavi， 中单 Cream， 下路 Jackie
Cream,
Love，
that's really good.
辅助航。接下来，让我们欢迎哔哩哔哩 Gaming。
Second in swing Maestro, that's really good. Getting that
上
early.
单冰，打野 Shadow， 中单 Knight， 下路 Elk， 辅助 On。
I gotta try. I gotta try. Fuck. Even with... Are we gonna lose our frickin' practice pool? Oh, so sad. Is that power? Nice, cool.
LPL 第3赛段常规赛
That's
组
really
内赛
annoying.
第5
Whatever,
周
at
第
least we got that
7
up
日第
immediately.
2场比赛，滔博对阵 BLG 即将开始 ，LPL 无畏进巅峰。
I gotta do it. Yes! We never fail. This is wits up the top one, right? No, this is stamina. Did I catch Genji Initialise this morning? No, sadly I couldn't because I was busy with this. We get Swing Maestro already? That's super good. Top esports, the gold ship of the LPL? Hell yeah, they are. That's a very good analogy. B1 Varus incoming? Perhaps. They're actually quite good at this whole... we actually take this time to go to the infirmary then. Just like a half rest, right? And it gets rid of this, which is good. Which we can't really stick around for too long. Oh, double rainbow training. Oh ja, oh Junge. Deine Training ist mein Lieblingstraining. Sorry, is that too much? This gives us friendship training on this. We need some more wit anyway. Never fail these. Nice. Into the rift we go. Well, not the rift, the draft. A little bit before that. Tends to come just before it anyway. Welcome in, one and all. Top esports BLG. I didn't run adverts. I'm going to have to run adverts over draft. Oopsies. My bad. My bad, my bad. Sorry about that one. Talia, Gwen, Trundle, all meta. Pantheon, Yunara, meta. Perhaps the Yone less so. What's left up now that's very powerful? The Varus. Varus first pick, presumably. With the... Look, Top Esports are one of the few teams that will actually play the Azir. I just don't think it's valuable for compared to the Varus. I think in LPL, just go for the Varus. Giving over Elk Varus is such a difficult thing to see. Jackalev is a great Varus. You do pick that up. BLG perhaps wanted them to pick that Azir, so they could pick the Ziggs. They picked the Azir themselves now. Knight been playing a lot more of it this split than before. You can go towards the Jhin, which is a nullifier of the Varus. The Varus is more useful than the Jhin, but the Jhin is still useful. Gives you good value. You know, you get to be still a long-range follow-up AD carry, which is much what the Varus is too. So BLG would be playing that side of the coin, that side of the matchup. Hello, welcome back everyone. I'll put my camera on, why not? Top esports. Think about the Aurora into the Azir, which is not a bad matchup. It's fine. Cream's a good player of it too. Aurora is definitely a strong LPL champion. Kanavi had an insane Shinzo game on this before. Sam's told me to go VOD review that game, and I may well do. Hard to turn down something like that. They go towards the Alistar instead, though. I mean, the Alistar has the Varus to carry them through the lane. Stops it being available for On as well. And what does On go into that? Presumably you can pick up the Rel here if you want. But you can go Rel. I think Nautilus isn't bad. You can go towards Nico or Rakan. I think both of them are fine. Do you really want to pick support now? I think you have plenty of supports you can go towards. They choose to lock it in and instead tank a couple of bans elsewhere. Haven't picked their jungle or top laner yet. So basically we've had mid, bot lane picked in for both teams. Typically we see top sides picked up in the first draft at this point. What do BLG want to ban away? Banning away engage combos that help with the Aurora, so that's the Vi. Do they ban away the Shinzo in terms of Kanavi's dominant early jungle matchups? Or perhaps Shadow picks Shinzo on 4. It's also a play. Banning away the Poppy. Alright. Because presumably Kanavi wants to play something like Wukong or Shinzo at this point. Poppy would be a powerful part of it. Then you'd also have several Dash champions ready. Wukong banned away. Shadow looks like he's setting up for a Shinzo 4th pick. Do you ban it away as top esports? Do you have a matchup into it? You could go towards Skarner. I suppose Skarner's not fantastic into the Azir. They ban away the Ornn, interestingly. That means that Shinzo is available. Shadow, lock it in on 4. Perhaps Kanavi go towards a Skarner at that point. Top 4 from LPL at Worlds. So 4th seed goes against 4th seed of LCK, and then they go through to the World's main tournament. But yeah, technically 4 teams at Worlds, yes. And I'm trying to think who our top 4 teams right now are BLG, Top Esports, IGAL. I think are quite hard pressed to remove. Well, not quite hard pressed. No, I think you are. Those are our top 4 teams right now. I think they're quite clearly the teams we send to Worlds. But playoffs is a strange and wonderful thing. Rumble goes through. I think you can Skarner now. Skarner Rumble's good. Skarner's pretty good with the Aurora too. Does okay into the Shinzo. Kanavi's a beast at the champion. It's the Jarvan instead. Not sure I love that, you know. Been thinking about what he wants to go as his last pick. Ambessa more aggressive. Cassante a bit more about the peel. And the Ambessa's locked in last. Aggressive play that. No tanks for BLG. Top Esports barely have one either. They have the Alistar ultimate, and that's sort of it. You are playing Varus into Ambessa. Now, Varus into Ambessa is a difficult one. This is almost certainly going to be the poke Varus. I don't think on hit has any value here. Hey, Pina, good to see you again. Yeah, top esports. They have the Jarvan, Aurora, Rumble combo. That is a hell of a top side, folks. That is a hell of a top side. You're going to get locked in for a ton of AoE damage, and BLG... I think champions like the Shinzo, if they're caught out, will die very, very quickly, but the Jhin and the Nico particularly could just get blown up, and that's a problem with someone like, say, On. If On is on a squishy Nico and starts to have a difficult game again, which he's had a few of here and there, he has. Perhaps top esports can pick him off quickly. Kanavi has been on good form this week. I say that top esports did lose to IG just the day before this, folks. They'll be reeling from that a little bit. They haven't lost many series. They are still very much a top team. The coaches will fist bump and we'll get ourselves on to the Rift. Give us off a coffee from the other room. Sam will come through to join us for this cast, hopefully. Hey, Sam, good to see you. And we'll get ourselves into our first matchup of what was our finals matchup quite commonly recently. I say quite commonly, I think it happened the 2 times or just the once. Anyway, top esports BLG last year was our top 2 teams. BLG owned this matchup. BLG lost to top esports in our first split of the year, of course, in winter. And I've been trying to make up for that ever since, really. Into the game we go. Well, folks, we aren't miles off having some proper violence occurring, eh? Night once again back on the Azir. I'm not gonna lie, it's gotten better over the years. It's still not something I'm necessarily enthused to see him on. While, of course, you heard Alex talking about it, top esports have got themselves a pretty mighty skirmish comp there. Those 1-item spikes, those level 6 marks, oh boy. That is some nastiness to be seen. Yeah, if you ever get caught out as one of these less mobile champions that can't get out of Cataclysm, things go from bad to worse very quickly. Kanavi going blue buff over to Raptors, taking away something. Kanavi has had some awesome games again recently, folks. Kanavi going to stake away the Raptors completely. BLG just didn't spot it out. They put a ward... what they think he's doing is clearing bot side to top side. They have a ward onto enemy Raptors, but not onto their own. Shadow's pinging out his Raptors. We'll see they're gone, and now he knows he's behind the clear. Top East was getting the best of this. They see him at his Raptors now, but Shadow is down a camp. He will not be able to turn up to Raptors in time to contest that. But he's going to have to go through his bot's camp. He's going to be a camp down. That's a problem. You're the Shinzo. You're meant to be winning these matchups. Very much so. Great pattern there from Kanavi. And again, go watch Game 1 yesterday. And again, they did lose yesterday. It's worth noting. But Game 1 was a textbook in how the hell you snowball a game from jungle. It was remarkable stuff. The 2 games got a lot closer. Really, they should have won Game 2. But hey, here we are. Invictus Gaming were their usual selves. Just that little bit too... stylish. There's an element of the clutch, an element of the ace in that squad, and they weren't quite ready for it. And to right some wrongs today. A bit more early oomph, obviously. Not that you've necessarily got their own weaknesses to work with. And then On and Shadow really play a pretty nasty skirmish pairing themselves. Knock up on the blue buff. From that free Talon Strike, I kind of just left it there. Jackie does end up eating a fair amount of chunk, and Jhin Nico, the first bit of CC lands, everything follows, gets a bit annoying, and that'll be a reset forced onto Jackie. And I was questioning, you know, why the Nico picked at the point in the draft that it was, because I thought, well, BLG, you could pick up someone like the Alistair there, or you could just not pick support. There are plenty of lane dominant supports, but On has been very good in laning phase on this. I think His engages later into the game have been where I've had more questions. I think that he's been engaging sometimes when there's not that much follow-up from the rest of his team, which, when you think about BLG historically, that was one of their strengths, where they would engage, everyone would have great follow-up, and they'd get these wonderful team fights. I don't think that's been a strength of 2025 BLG in the same way that it has before, and I think that's one of the reasons they haven't been world beaters in a way that they were in 2024.
Then on this Ambassador as well, getting chunked up and thrown turret a little by 369 there, but it's not led to too much of a CS advantage or anything as yet. Shadow picking up his second spawn in the ramp, but is down a couple camps here early. Does mean that realistically Kanavi be hitting that level 6, 10, 20, 30 seconds early on with the not at all suspicious roam up.
I am a regular minion. Pay attention to me. Do not actually. Yeah. I am a minion.
Pay no attention to the man behind the small minion costume. Ooh, flash forwards. Gonna force a flash out of bin there as Hung goes looking. Can't quite find what he was after.
Oh, well, what he does find is a denial of the wave under bot lane turret, which I think is still an important goal. If they manage to kill bin, that's the sequel to Kill Bill, by the way. Kill Bin. Yeah, you know, it's a crazy movie, I tell you. But if they managed to do that, then of course it would have been slightly better. But he's still losing XP, he's still losing gold. Knight dodges that on the shotgun there. But Bin, he's not feeling happy now. 369, of course. Old teammates of Knight on the other side on JDG. Bin walking, he needs to get some kind of farm, but he's going to get stopped on his way there.
And Hex Flash for the Pulverize, eats a fair amount of damage, not being taken low. How far off 6 are they? Still a bit of a wave to go. 369's going to take a turret shot there, but does have the scrap shields. It's okay-ish. They're holding the wave, and now Bin healing up best he can, but that turret will have depressurized, and they can start to look to jump onto Bin. Headbutt, Pulverize, flag, drag, and a 6-foot hole in the ground for Bin.
Bin is kind of out of the game now, folks. He's been forced off of so much farm. Jackie will, using the cannon to tank the tower.
They do this all the time. This is the 3rd time in as many Nico games I've seen On do this. It's been brutal. They can't quite get Jackie, though. Nelk ends up having to flash across the captive audience there. Goes Jackie. The wave died on them, unfortunately.
Almost an awesome play, but can't get enough damage down. Jackie ends up surviving without even needing to use his flash on. Still quite low HP here. Doesn't have the flash to follow up. While all that was happening in the bot lane too, it's worth noting that Shadow tried to get a flash play onto Cream, but only managed to get flash for flash. So Shadow was not there to defend bot lane, and didn't get that much out of mid lane. I'm worried here for BLG. I think that Shadow, he's been shut down early. I think that he's been put under a lot of pressure, and I don't think he defended Bin there very well too. He needed to be there on that side of the map, but he wasn't able to do so. On could have also potentially gone to support him. Neither of those things happen, and BLG now have an Ambassador who is down over 10 CS and a kill to 369, who's almost 1,000 gold ahead, not 7 minutes in.
It's not even like it was a camp issue, because as camps were spawning on the bot side of the map, he's just clearing up from them. Oh, there definitely could have been a world where he was there. Doesn't really get all that much for it. We don't get the dragon. Grubs have yet to spawn, so it's all falling apart a little on that front. Cream, clear out that minion wave. Look to drop off vision here.
What's the playback now? What's the playback? That's different. Counterplay. That's the one. Counterpunch. That thingy. Response. Other word, which also would be very useful in this situation, but I, tactically forgot. The tactical vergessen. No, yeah, that's the German word. Vergessen. That's forgetting. Instead of gegessen, which is 8. Like, Knight just ate a combo there. Gegessen ein Aurora combo. Yeah, German LPL. You, I'd say you heard it here first, but actually, there are other places which have done this before.
Like, what was I going to say? Quite famous at the minute for doing kind of just that.
Yeah, amongst other things. But yeah, BLG, what's the response? Because they cannot really allow the Ambassador to not be a factor. Being down significant amount from where they should be is a problem. Knight is going to have a ton of threat onto him. I don't see how this Azir is going to be able to play very safely.
On does stand the tangle bar for the flag and drag through, change the corruption, and that's the combo we were talking about. The Nico dies, can't block out the CC with the clone. Shadow follows, Elk is running, but doesn't have the flash after the failed dive top. Jackie now burns the flash he saved earlier to show Elk how it's supposed to be done. A triple kill to the AD carry of top esports on bot side. Bin gets chunked by 369, but it will lead to nothing else.
BLG banned the Yone instead of the Varus. That Varus just triple killed them, and top esports explode the early game. Bin comprehensively shut down early. BLG pressured out in jungle as well. Shadow has had very little impact. Good combo there from Knight, though.
That's well done across the Veil. Cream goes, but he goes across it a little too permanently, and they will get on the board finally.
Well played there from Knight. His Azir gets a good play. Not really been his fault this early game. I think Shadow has been butchered by Kanavi early. In their last series, when BLG beat Top Esports, Shadow also got put behind early by Kanavi, but he was able to soak that pressure and come out and be useful on the other side of it. Not here. They didn't spot out that brush cleanly enough. Shadow walks beyond it, puts himself out of position to frontline on. Obviously, clearly doesn't expect anyone on that brush either. Fire Assault lands. Shinzai can't do much here. BLG clearly falling behind the vision control game, and Top East was punishing very, very well. But you can see BLG losing control and information. They didn't know anyone was in that brush, and it allowed Venegage to come through.
I mean, I've also got to give a little bit of credit to Top Esports for faking it out, selling it so well, because Hung leaves the bushes as if going, oh, I can't be here anymore, too many members. Not, of course, having Kanavi leave. So they don't know that the Jarvan is still in there, and kind of with the retreat of the Alistair, it fakes that the bush is now empty. It very much wasn't. Got so much value from it. Now up 1,500 gold. All in some fantastic spaces. See, Jackie loves Varus. Of course, the Rumble still accelerating after that early kill from the dive.
Yeah, I think Top Esports see so many green flags for this game now. They have complete control over jungle support because On is very, very squishy, can't contest vision very well. Shadow's behind the game, and they have playmakers that can dive with Alistair ult like this. Bin, to get another kill onto Bin, this game is so done for BLG.
Chains of Corruption just went wide, but a flash for the Pulverize into the headbutt. On's going to heal away. Elk now coming on over. Pop Blossom potentially turn things around briefly. The Deadly Flourish just wide.
Oh.
But Kanavi just flashed Cataclysm, says no, not today. Bin now potentially looking to get some turnaround here as a flash and forward from Shadow. Pressing guard down. Kanavi needing to back away, but they are getting some damage back. Public Execute on the backside. 369 also flashing. Has got themselves a blast code. It ends up being the 1-for-1, both supports dying.
Yeah, good response from BLG, quick timing. They have left, though, the 3 Grub Aurora on the top side turret. So that's going to be at least 2 plates, maybe even a third, actually, by the time Knight gets in there. Nope, calling me a liar there. Bin will teleport up to collect the rest of that wave. BLG punch back finally, and that's important. If they didn't get anything out of that play, they would have been losing on both sides of the map. The person who gets the kill is Shadow, and that play was a Shadow. Yeah, it was Shadow because On got that kill in the mid lane. And Top Esports don't cleanly get the bot side play that they were looking for.
Yeah, and he ended up costing you flash on Kanavi, flash on 369, flash on Hung. They just took a little bit too long. And without the Aurora there, the 4-man collapse from BLG on their beleaguered support ended up with the man advantage in a way I think Top Esports were hoping was not going to be the case.
We can flag drag over the wall there, starts that recall. BLG are getting towards their first items now. Shadow has his. He had it a little bit before Kanavi, interestingly, in that fight. He gets it on this back. Actually, I don't think he had it for that fight. I think he got that from the kill, but he had it on that recall. Cutting down the jungle advantage a little bit more. That's important. Shadow cannot take the early game loss and then just fall out of the game with it. That was sometimes a problem with Beitron, where if he fell behind the game, he would just fall into the abyss. Shadow, I think, has been a little bit better at taking an early L and then somehow walking back from it. Not all the time, of course. I don't think it's a hard and fast rule. Especially against Kanavi, it's going to happen a fair amount. That's one of the things about playing against Kanavi.
Yeah, and again, like when he was on FBX and before that, one of the criticisms we did have of Shadow was that sometimes when things did go wrong, he kind of felt obligated to play his way back into the game. I just feel like on BLG, on the whole, he has been a little bit more measured and hasn't necessarily thrown the kitchen sink at people and then realised maybe that has left me with very little to do in the rest of the game.
Dragon started. Garden, not always the fastest at taking dragons, but can help an AD carry take it a little bit quicker too. I do think this is an underrated thing about taking jungle camps. If you're a Sejuani, you're slow at taking things by yourself. If you have a melee with you, Sejuani is actually one of the fastest dragon killers in the game. If you have like a Yone with you or something. Knight around the on this bot side turret. On will potentially spot Hung out here. See, the top piece was constantly threatening this bot lane dive. BLG didn't defend it well at the first time of asking around Bin. The second and now the third times here, they've done well to have someone in position to protect the dive.
What you're telling me, Alex, is that we should start having inverted funnel. Or you have like a brawl mid or something to come follow a Sejuani to speed up her clear through the jungle.
I'm pretty sure that was sort of a thing before, actually, at some point. Remember when Braum would actually... Remember Season 4, lane swaps, in Season 5 lane swaps, yeah, we would actually have, like, Braum, double jungling, sweep back onto 369, no flash.
We'll put down the Equalizer on the wave, kind of knows he's dead, so he's trying to take as many minions with him as he can, and we'll get the majority of them. Not the cannon, though, sadly for him.
And Knight, 2 good sweepbacks now. 1-0-1, gets plays onto Flashless solo laners, first onto Cream, then onto 369. Knight's Azir. These plays have been working out pretty well for him. The question is, can he cleanly teamfight later? It's a hard game for him to do so, but he will get value there. Sadly, for BLG, and positively for Top Esports, they have the 3 grubs. They will cross-map. Yes, they lose 1 kill onto the Rumble, but they get the first turret on top side, giving them the fruits of strength.
Yeah, and 369 did basically knew he was dead and just cleared the way, prevented any really easy follow-up, and
also, I lied. They had the feats of strength before that anyway, but they would have had it again if they needed it.
Even more
from the first turret. Yeah, they have
feats of strengthiness.
Yeah,
premium
feats of might. This just sounds like all of those Clash of Clans kind of.
I never played Clash of Clans.
Yeah, me neither, Sam. But have you heard of Honor of Clash of Kings of Legends versus Zombies?
Raid Legends.
Raid Legends.
Yeah.
Subscribe now.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't have any follow-up. That's the best bit I've had for this.
That was the bet we had. That was the best we had.
Yeah, that's the best we've got.
How was last series, Al?
It was really dominant, Sam. I'm not going to lie. All I did was sit there thinking, well, Weibo are going to cross-map. Well, they've not done that much on the cross-map, and they've lost a big team play. I think the thing which is setting apart Weibo from a team like BLG, Top Esports, IG, or anyone's Legend is they're just not good enough team fighters to hang with the best of them right now.
Sort of see why potentially those discussions about, rumours about Light potentially being trialled for replacements. And wait, when it's helping your AD carry who's asked to be your big team fight.
Look, I'm just going to say this. If you're going to trial him out with someone like Assume, who is apparently rumoured for that, why wouldn't you try someone like 1xN instead? I think that guy, take a gamble on 1xN. I don't think it's even much of a gamble. I think that guy's fantastic.
It's got maybe a question about contracts.
Yeah, eventually, but, you know, throw some money at the issue tends to solve things. Depends how serious you are at actually making a world push.
Yeah, very true.
Cream will spot out the clone of On there, switched over to the Ignite. Well, it's not quite the 20-minute BLG throw time just yet. Got a few minutes until that comes.
I feel like from 15 minutes, though, the percentage chance starts rising. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, it does, in fact, get you closer towards that 20-minute mark. Maybe that's just the nucleus of it.
Yeah.
But 20 to 25 minutes, just something goes horribly wrong for BLG. We said it before, BLG, in the last week, has stood for bad late game. Carrot's going to take an electrocute rock. Carrot's going to go into mid lane before killing the turret.
Trying to dive forward. Quite got what he was looking for, though, was a really good hop. Denies it, Chains of Corruption lands, and unfortunately, Battle Herald! Let's go! That's not quite a chicken jockey. It's a bit bigger and a bit nastier. Flag and Drag fell over the wall, but Hug will flash and say, no, you don't get to go. Stay here. Headbutt, Pulverize, Equalizer, and it's roast chicken for dinner.
What is Shadow doing standing there? Takes all of his HP bar before he can mount any sort of comeback. And BLG's jungler has had a poor week at work. Top Esports, a great punish from them. Hung going forwards for aggressive combos, comboing onto the Varus, who's already so strong. Showcases exactly how strong Top Esports are from a lead as well. They got a ton of comfort this game first. Hung, comfortable on the Alistar. Varus, incredible for Jackalope. Bin going in.
The Deadly First is just wide. 369 might die here. He's caught in the Cataclysm with everyone else. He's got a Hex Drinker. Not bad from Bin. Hang on, what about the slow? On's now here as well. Kanavi may be in danger. Does get rooted up briefly mid-flag and drag, but it buffers it well enough, and Bin gets the 1 and the 1v2.
Does, but still dies, which means he's missing another wave. I'm getting quite worried for the amount of waves he's losing, but I suppose Rumble on the other side is losing some as well. Shadow makes a big mistake. 1, taking the chunk there, then 2, jumping out here. That is just not the right position. Shadow's had a bad game so far, and he's had a pretty bad week. He was fairly poor versus anyone's Legend into the late game. And even versus Weibo, there were moments where I was questioning if he was just getting straight out valued by TN. What happened there is that when you cast EQ on Jarvan, it will always cast basically like bout at max range. But if you're knocked back, then it will bring you out of your Q range. He was just a little short there. He couldn't get over the wall anyway, so just trying his luck. Whatever, right?
I will also note, do you know what Shadow Audacious charged to in that replay?
Was it a minion?
It was a Might, not the champion. He did it. He tried to get onto Knafi and did it onto a Might.
How intriguing. Dragon now spawned for Top Esports. And that'll be third for them. It'll be towards the Ocean Salt. BLG trading. Yeah, I think they realize that they are really quite far behind in this game strategically, right? They have a composition which is pretty good if they play around, you know, their own pick combo and the Xin Zhao from a point of power. The Xin Zhao is not powerful. The Azir basically cannot teamfight versus this top side. The Varus is ridiculously strong too. BLG, they're preying on missteps from top esports and for them to give over free kills which open up better opportunities.
Ben and Shadow just hanging around. That's not a bad start. In comes the public execution. 369 will go golden and throw down the equalizer, but it's largely well buffered through. There is no flash available. Redemption buys some time, but a wonderful crescent guard denies Kanavi's entrance to the play. Deadly Flourish will root up Kanavi, but there is no follow-up. A minute until Atakar means unlikely any chance to come and contest that. I will know also in the replay, the Ocean Dragon did go down, so top esports are at soul point.
So as Dragon for top lane outer turret, Knight got some gold from that to fuel him through to his next item. You can see that Bin's Ambessa has really leveled up across this year. If you go back to Bin's first few Ambessa games of the year, even as much into last splits, he was really struggling on the champion to the point where we're saying, look, he probably just shouldn't be playing this. Credit to him, he's leveled it up a lot. Great ult there, not assisted by anything. Just hits it onto the flashless Rumble. And even though he's been shut down in this game, he's making an impact. I've been impressed with Bin's Rumble more and more as the year's gone on. Varus is coming down. This is probably a dead Ambessa, by the way. Varus is here.
Oh, the moment we started praising him, there's the exhaust after headbutt into the wall, change the corruption, repudiation shield buys some time. Now 369 is here. Is he going to be donated the kill or at least an assist? That's not bad damage back, Ben. But it's still not enough to keep himself alive. 1 and 3 now.
Yeah, if he hadn't been killed like 3 times on a side lane, he probably would have had real threat there. Can't quite do so in that moment, though, and BLG will lose their top laner yet again. Top esports have really dunked down on Bin.
And literally the moment we go, and that was a nice play, good work on him. This Ambessa has definitely improved over the split. The moment we say it, that kind of scene happens. It's almost like the observers or the gods of League of Legends are listening to us.
Do you think they stay in the heavens in fear of what they've created?
What are the heavens? My HQ?
Probably. I can't believe that Spy Kids 3 have one of the greatest philosophical lines. Like, do you think God stays in heaven, afraid to come down to earth in fear of what he's created? Like,
is that actually from that originally?
It's from Spy Kids 3.
I thought that was from something significantly more artistic.
It's Steve Buscemi in Spy Kids 3.
Unbelievable.
Occasionally you get some really good philosophical lines dropped in like a kid show or something.
Spy Kids was a great series. I enjoyed that a lot.
It's very good. It was kind of like just before CGI became too much of a gimmick, but enough. Well, okay, it was a gimmick, but like just before it became such of a expensive thing to do that you could do it kind of fairly cheaply, but for fun, regular effect.
Do you remember when you used to rent it from Blockbuster or whatever?
Yeah.
It came with the 3D glasses in the DVD cover with the red and green lenses. We have, in fact, however,
oh my god,
talk about.
Hung was using the Nimbus Cloak move speed from the teleport after to walk menacingly at them. On has this ghost pops. He has flash and heal, which are better fight summons for the actual fight itself. BLG, please do not leash this. I've seen BLG lose one too many games from an intercom.
I'm a minion.
That's wonderful, Sam. He's taking a ton of damage.
I'm a minion.
Reminder, folks, that if you hide as a minion and you get smoked, you do take the full damage of the spike. Green, looking for the shotgun, not getting in range of anyone just yet.
On turns into a bird instead. Maybe he'll start making some more cooing noises. Speaking of chicken, by the way, you know there's a BBQ Oliver's now in Berlin.
No.
Yeah.
We must go.
Shout out to Law for sharing that one.
That's
by the way.
Fantastic. He's going to get damaged pretty heavily there by Knight. Knight level 13, a little bit behind in terms of XP, in terms of Cream. He's had a lot more free time on sidelines. Top esports are dying so many waves across the map, has led to some decent XP advantages to the side, obviously top esports in general. If BLG were to get Atakan, that would be something which would have worked a little bit more in their favor. BLG not really able to do much around this Atakan. It's going to slow down, surround it, looking for bits and pieces of poke, but when you've got a 4-kill Varus at 2 items, he wins those poke battles.
Eye's now done for Knight. Bin's been chunked a little bit. Shadow not looking for potential angle here. It's got 3 Talon Strike, can't interrupt as Cream is forced to between worlds to get out of danger though.
Yes, but Shadow takes a lot of damage. The Honey Fruit will help him a little bit. The Aurora ult is down, doesn't have something like a Malignance. It's not a high cooldown reduction build, doesn't have something like the cooldown boots either. 30 seconds till Dragon now. This dance has gone on so long, we're going to have another objective spawn.
Yeah.
Feats of Strength actually coming in from Cream as he upgrades the boots with them. BLG finally leave the bot side of the map alone for a little bit, trying to get the red buff onto Shadow right now. If they can get onto Knight too, it does apply on his ear soldiers. They could potentially give it to him. In fact, I'd quite like to see them do that. Instead, BLG have left the bot side of the map to get that red buff, and that potentially leaves Atakan started.
Better, interestingly, for a bit more sticking power.
I think you should give it to the Azir. I guess he has Rylai's. Do you know what? He has Rylai's. That's not a problem. Give it to the Ambassador. Sure, why not? Atacama was leashed. Dragon is spawned. Now both objectives on the bottom side of the map. As BLG need to find a way to survive this giant combo from the top side of Top Esports.
He goes on in, flashes out immediately as the Deadly Flourish was threatened, so Kanavi down a key summoner. He's lost about half his HP bar. Hung also chunked out.
Yeah, but Knight did flash. Flash for flash between jungle of Top Esports, mid lane of BLG. Knight was caught out a little far there. Dragon's getting lower and lower. BLG need to be afraid of the big engage, though. The ultimates are coming up from creep.
He'll burn to heal, but there's going to turn that around as the pop block on the back line. Trying to find the angle. They've lost all the Cataclysm. Turn around. Shadow burning low, not quite down. Fortunately, Knight with a wonderful shuffle, but unfortunately, he dies to do it. 369 the golden barbecue. Elk flashing, can't get the kills. Shadow and Bin try, but it is to no avail. They're in the namesake, binned by Top Esports.
BLG too far behind. Top Esports too much damage, and an Ocean Soul goes their way at 24 minutes. BLG find their end in this painful timestamp, anywhere between 20 and 25 minutes. Something goes wrong for this team. Top Esports controlling the flow of the game for the grand majority of it. Top Esports playing around this Varus so well. Why did BLG ban Yone and not Varus?
Have a look at the replay. I thought the Pop Blossom was amazing. I thought the Shuffle was amazing, and none of it matters. 4-man Pop Blossom and all the carries. Still not enough.
Because as they go in, Kanavi gets a counterpunch. He manages to get a double knockup, a dunk onto it. Elk doesn't do that much damage. Knight, it's a good sweep from him, but it doesn't have quite enough oomph behind it. Again, I don't think Knight's been the problem on the Azir. It's just been that BLG are so far behind. The Ambassador doesn't have 1,000 gold lead because they've died 3 times on the side lane. Now, this Varus is doing way more damage than he should be because he's got 6 kills now too. Top Esports were given way too much gold in the early game, and BLG must stop that for future games in this series. They are to come away with a victory. Top Esports, their early game has been magnificent versus BLG.
Insane fight from Queen, by the way. I kind of slipped me by a little bit. He managed to dodge out of nearly everything, managed to shock on multiple people. Hung, flashing over for the headbutt pulverize. Public execution does go wide, but it was allowed to buffering through the CC. Still gonna be a death of Shadow though. TPing in is Knight, but not in time to save the jungler.
Yeah, hang on, that's a lot of damage onto Hung actually. Wow.
Ow. Redemption heal. 1 shot lands. Does have an Ocean Soul, and 369 should body block it. Interrupted his Elk by a lot of damage and can't finish up what the bullet started on. Cataclysm, the exhaust comes on down. He tries to throw down the Pop Blossom, but just gets popped in turn. Queen goes on forwards for the 2-fold Hex. Can't quite find it though.
Not gonna lie, folks, this game is a hell of a jungle support diff. On is 1 and 5. Shadow 2 and 4. Top Esports jungle support have been really doing damage. Knight has to play very. Hang on a second, Hung's over the wall.
There we quiet it, Howl, for hunting season. That is a big old moo-moo as he'll come across the back end of it and find a headbutt pulverize onto the Azir.
Awesome flank from Hung. Gets a great pick out of the fog of war. BLG were forced to approach from a point of vision denial from Top Esports. Baron will go over to them. They have that Ocean Soul already, and BLG, they're running for the hills at this point. They are in a very desperate scenario.
Na'Vi empowers some minions, but won't find anything else aside from that for now. But they don't need to. They can reset. They can look to shove some waves, and at this point, they're 5,000 gold ahead with an Ocean Soul. And BLG, they're just struggling to have anyone go forward without melting.
BLG just have not been able to, they were not able to stabilize from that early game. They had one good skirmish to see off that bot lane play, turn into a 1-for-1, but they don't have that huge punch because the Ambassador was shut down. The Shinzao's provided very little value in this game, and Shadow's been misplaying quite heavily. It's a shame because I think Shadow, his entry into this roster was really good. He has been manhandled this game, and he's been struggling to make plays from behind.
Look, we said on the whole he had shed a fair amount of the issues that have plagued him when things on FPX have gone wrong. And teams before that saying, look, when things don't go well, when he does overplay things, it just kind of, he doubles down on it a bit. And sometimes you just wonder the last few days, like, actually, some of those old traits of Shadow just rearing their heads again a little.
But you know, on the positive side, IG just made an announcement that JJ has now left the team. JJ is available. BLG wants to know your location. Shadow blowing the ult again because he's hit by a Varus ult. I really think Jaculov is one of the best poke Varus players in the world. He has been so good on this pick. 706, incredible damage. Hasn't died once despite Bin's best efforts.
And on the other side of this, right, like, who on earth tanks up a Varus ult this game from the side of BLG? It probably is Shadow. He's the only one who can do something like Pressing Guard. Everyone else cries quite a lot about being hit. In they go with the equalizer, and goodbye. On is absolutely eviscerated. Cream adds him to his dessert. Over the wall with the between worlds. Pull back on the twofold hex.
Top Esports delete the jungle supporter BLG, who have had a horrid game one. Top Esports control from beginning to end. The Varus, which should have never been let through draft, punishes BLG. Kanavi leading the charge from start to end.
Kanavi leads the charge. He has not been involved in only a single kill this game. Bin now in danger. In fact, this might be the next one, but Bin is going to be left alive under his tier 3. Kanavi steps on forward with the Marshall Cadence, but the Nexus turrets are a far more valuable prize at this point, and Top Esports will get Pop Blossom one more time, but 369 says, unreal. Knight fails the shuffle. Hung will headbutt pulverize him to death on his own damn fountain, and BLG are smashed in game 1.
Top Esports, after a loss to Invictus Gaming yesterday, have a statement to make. BLG, after a loss to Anyone's Legend earlier this week, left a little bit without words. BLG down 0-1 in the series.
I'll give BLG some hope.
Yes.
Top Esports had a similarly clean game 1 just yesterday. Cleaner,
True.
even. And then things went wrong partway through game 2. They pulled a BLG, Alex.
Yeah, the mid-game throws. The mid-game throws will continue until morale improves.
They're not improving. It's making me crazy, Alex.
That they are. That they are. So, hello. You might be wondering who you are if you're new to the channel, and if you're old, I'm sorry, we can do the spiel again. My name's Alex. I'm also known as Nymaera. This is Sam, also known as Initialise. We're brothers, and we cast the LPL because, one, we enjoy it, and two, there's no official broadcast anymore. So if you want to enjoy a more traditional broadcast of one of the greatest regions within League of Legends history, here's one of the best places to do it. Now, we're not paid to do this. In fact, no one is paid to cover the region anymore, which means that the storytelling, the analysis, the narratives, and the enjoyment of the region are being lost because it's not being supported and by any kind of financial backing anymore. What that means is that we're only able to do this by your support. That's by you watching, by liking, commenting, subscribing, and there are a couple of other things you can do as well. We have paired up with an LEC coach, Hedon, for a project called League Mastery, which has a ton of coaching videos which help you climb. There are tips and tricks from One Tricks. The resources on there are genuinely very, very good. And we'll even have a coaching and a casting it guide from us, actually, if that's something which you're more interested in as well. It's a kind of hub for all League skills. It's a subscription-based system. If you do sign up to it through our link, it helps give a little bit back to us as well. You're also able to get like weekly calls with people as well. It's not just like
now we can talk to you about some stuff.
If that is something you're interested in, please scan the QR code. There'll be a link put in chat as well. If that's something that you're interested in, please do so. And of course, we have a Ko-fi link if you'd like to donate in other ways as well, not give your money to, you know, Bezos and Amazon and Twitch and stuff like that.
On the other hand, if you do, it can help us get towards Partner Plus and stuff. So the swings and roundabouts, there's lots of ways to support us, and it would be much appreciated, those who do. Thank you again for all the support this month. It's been really awesome. As we said, we have got our latest little deal. We've actually got a sponsor, guys. That's kind of fun.
Yeah, we do. It's very cool. It's nice to have that, you know.
What do we think about Poby playing in EU? I think he's been fitting in quite well at Fnatic, to be honest. I don't think he's not supposed to be the star. That's not the point. He's used to playing with T1 Academy, who are all about bot lane being everything in the game for them. And I think Poby is fitting into that just fine. He's very stable. He's quite smart. He lanes fine. Like, he's a better fit for this squad than Humanoid was. I do think there were probably...
Uma Masume sponsor when? Jesus Christ, when? I would rock that shit.
Yeah, I do think, like, and I have this conversation with, like, Peter Dunn and a couple other people as well. It's like, look, it's not that Poby is a bad fit. I do think it says quite a lot about the state of EU, though, that our scouting for talent in EU hasn't really led to all that much from some of these squads, because basically everyone follows the rumor mill these days, where, you know, one person says, oh, this person's good, and everybody then goes looking at them. Or you'll get a leak in any kind of publication, and then suddenly, like, oh, someone think about this one, right, we're going to look to it, and the price goes way up. And it means actually a lot of EU talent who might arguably have been a better fit were kind of out of reach, affordability-wise, contract-wise, in terms of, like, attention-wise from too many people. And I think Fnatic have burned a couple bridges, unfortunately, in terms of how attractive the org is to be on in some ways. I think Mickey and Upset are committed, and that's great news, but it's been very weird elsewhere, so we'll see how it goes. But anyway, that's the long and short of it. Good fit, but there are signals it rises as a result of that.
Okay, we're going to go take a quick break, folks. We'll play some horse game. Of course we will. Put some adverts on as well. You okay there? you put it around the back. It's big.
No, he's got the wrap around the arm, right?
Okay.
Yep. You want a coffee,
Yes, please. I love one, thank you.
How would you take your coffee?
Latte, please. A little bit of honey.
Be done.
Thank you. Okay, let's run first race. We got Swinging Maestro already. I actually don't think we need to get that right now. This is actually pretty good to get. But I don't want to spend... Actually, no, I do kind of want to get this, because that's one of the ways you lose early races. And that's not going to get any cost reduction or anything. Maybe that was a mistake, actually. Maybe that was a mistake. There's 10 in late. That could actually be a big blocker for us. We've got good stats for this point, though. Here's our MVP. Kanavi or Jaculov. Jaculov's been insane, by the way. Oh, Hung gets it. Cool. Nice. I need to get used to putting this on regular speed, because it probably is just more enjoyable to watch on regular speed. Okay, we're in good position. Hope you get well soon, Fed. Yeah, we got legs. Get him, Golshi. Gold ship. What's up? Good drop kick. Good drop kick. Yep, top piece was one convincingly too. We actually do want to get skill points because it helps us get towards Swinging Maestro a little quicker. Now we look for good training options. This is actually good because it gives us a chance to get more, because this is like an MLB borrowed Super Creek, so we do want to borrow that for value. Although we are probably training this a little bit too much. Ooh, double on that, let's fucking go. This is wit up. That's good, actually. No, getting some wit up is good. Because I don't want to train wit that much, but we do need a decent amount, you know? Double nice. Good shit. This is speed and skill points, I think. Nice. I want to see if we can get some corner recovery. We go Wit for the friendship training. Show me good storylines without fake or T1 included. Yagao and Yagao and Knight being from the same hometown, being part of the same team, like in a cafe, and consistently facing off in finals. That was awesome. Kiaya on Garm, literally being taught how to read and write, being brought out of poverty by Garm Esports. Now has created generational wealth for his family. These aren't that useful. We didn't get any stuff up. TPA's run? Yeah, it was the same as well. Maybe we do just get these. Fuck it, we'll just get these. We need to get firm conditions if we can as well. Yeah, BLG's draft was very poor. I'm very, very surprised that they gave over Varus first pick like that. Hang on, I shouldn't be on 4x speed. Maybe I should be, whatever. Well, we didn't get rushed, didn't get late start, we got our skill. Do we get ult? Do we need it? Yeah, we do. Well, I mean, we get it, but I don't think we need it. Yeah. Hang on, we're gonna get blocked here? No, we're in good position. Nice. Cool. Easy win. Dropkick.
然后最近的话，就滔博的，主要是看野辅的节奏吧。野辅节奏好的时候，就是会赢下来比较顺利。目前队伍的话，就是可能前面在拿到优势的时候，能比较好去。
Sunny Days is good. No, Sunny Days is good. That's really good. Hang on, wait. Is that for Guts? Guts is shit. If we, I mean, Sunny Days is not a good stat to get, but we do kind of need that. That's a shame. Ah, it's for Guts. That's a problem. I mean, Guts is not great to get. I can't do much about that. Do we? We have a mood up coming. We rest. Friendship. This is... Hey, wait, this is a free mood up anyway. Nice, cool. Friendship. It's either energy or mood. We get the mood back. Nice, perfect, cool. Really good luck. The FM was clutching. That was that was 2021 when they made it to Worlds, the first and only time LGL has ever made it to... We're not going to run this. It's the first and only time an LGL team has ever made it to the group stage of a... an international tournament. This is Wits, I think. Wits or speed? Yeah, we go for this. We're gonna get enough speed anyway. Sometimes you get fast learner from that, which is insanely good. We really want to start training this up, and plus we do get chance of... Any good races to run here? Maybe we do run this actually. How many fans we got? 34,000. We can run this. We can run this. This is basically what the Champions Meet will be actually, by the way. Yeah, we'll run this. I like the little butterfly things on the dress. Shadow is the worst jungler for BLG. It's really hard to rate things, right? I think that Shadow is good on his, he's been good at the start of it, but... I really hope that people who really shit on Beichuan and really shit on, like, other junglers realize that this is not... This thing explodes, that's very funny. I hope they realize that this is obviously a systematic issue for BLG. Like, the jungle issue is a systematic one. Just because you switching a player in and out does not necessarily help you, you know? We are in a really, really bad spot. Oh my god, we're going to get completely blocked in. Oh, come on. We're going to get completely blocked in like this. Ah, oh, Jesus. I mean, we're going to finish like 10th or some shit. Well, this is gold ship for you. Not bad moving, but we're going to get... Oh, fucking hell. Why do I even run this shit? Fuck off. 7th. Yeah, fuck off. I shouldn't be that... sorry, I shouldn't be swearing as much on stream like that. Mute down? No, okay. At least you got some skill points, but... we rest and then we run in the Terazeka cannon. Oh, that's annoying. We actually overkilled on energy regen. Should be into draft soon. Okay, we'll get ourselves into draft soon. Well, we'll put this one race on in the background. Into the draft we go. Absolute cinema in the top corner, as always, of course. BLG, we criticized them an awful lot for that last draft. Can they get away with something better this time? Oh, stupid ass game. Absolute cinema? No, second. Whatever, that run is dead. What's the first pick from BLG? Rumble, maybe? No, it's gone. I forget about that from Billis. Trundle locked in. No Scion. Could lock the Ornn in alongside it. No Aurora to be an anti-tank top laner. I mean, Zaya's pretty good versus Trundle. Zaya Rakan early. Strong laning phase. Stuff like the Varus and the Nico gone. Some of the lane dominance is gone. Guess you could go Kai'Sa Nautilus from Alcon. In fact, I might lock that right now, Kai'Sa Nautilus. Ezreal Karma is another strong early lane. I'd say Trundle first pick is a bit much, but what's countering it really? That's a great question. Maybe I haven't figured it out myself. Top esports need to find a way around that Trundle. I mean, Cassandra into Trundle is not fantastic. If you get ulted and then you lose all your resist and you die. Dangerous thing to make that. What did I miss? Well, I mean, you missed Hung getting MVP. The Alistair last game. I can see it. BLG first picked the Trundle. 369 still picks a tank into it, but the Cassante's not awful at getting away, I suppose, as a tank. And 369 is so good at the Cassante, perhaps he can just say, look, I know you're an anti-tank champion. Doesn't matter. I'm just too good at this.
He is, in fairness, one of our very best Cassantes in the league. I don't think who else is the best, but I think Breathe has tried very hard on Weibo to make the Cassante look good and has often had very good individual moments. Has often been 369 who's been top-end remaining specialist. BLG lock in the Trundle first pick. It's often banned against Shadow. They've got the Ezreal Karma for shove, which sets up well for that. On with that, Karma has often been very aggressive about using those W tethers to get some value. And on the other side, look, you've already got the Zyra Khan, you lock in the Annie, you're locked down on the single target, you overplay into the zone of control and things get dicey.
BLG have a chance to get 3 winning lanes here though. You have counter pick in mid and top, and your bot lane is a winning bot lane too. Yes, the Zyra Khan do well later into the game, but early on... Victor does well into the Annie. You can kind of tank up Q for Q, outrange with that E. Into the Cassante, a little bit more questionable. I guess you could go something like the... the Yorick would be what you want. Can't go towards that now. Renekton is a winning match against the Cassante. So I think you have 3 good lanes from BLG. Will that be enough? Give them the leg up in the early game they might need.
Final pick to come on through for Knavi. Most likely, unless there's something very weird. I don't think Cassante's jungle clear is very good. You only go over walls when you're all out. Maybe that's the way you do it. It's all out every time. But it's
Zed
angle.
All right.
Okay.
Well, there's not that much lockdown from BLG. You have a Karma W, which never really lands, and then Renekton W. That is the only instant CC you get. Zed playing into a 0 CC comp is very, very scary. Now, we have seen Zed be tried into Trundle before to mixed results. Occasionally fantastic, occasionally very, very poor. Gets locked in here.
No joke, the last time we saw it was Shadow trying it into the Trundle and couldn't quite make it. It was into an Ezreal that time as well to try and find a way to continually threaten that normally elusive backline carry.
And we'll get ourselves into our second game of Series 2. First series, pretty quick one, folks. Anyone's Legend dispatched of Weibo 2-0. Top Esports, fairly quick game in game 1 of this one. We could be in for a very short day,
We
folks.
could be. And I've got to make things work. Quickly getting Alex to finish the coffee I half started for myself. Love you, Al. It's great having your brother help with this kind of thing. Kanavi said, "Oh Lord, Deus." I don't blame that sentiment. The last time we saw Kanavi on the Zed, he kept going for the TikTok plays, the highlight reel plays. And as the LPL, the home of the Chinese TikTok. But I definitely had my eyebrows raised about it. My general rule with Zed has always been, if you can't play it like a mid laner, don't play it at all. The only person, maybe 2 people I've seen who've managed to do that so far in the LPL have largely been Tarzan and Monkey. And then that was mostly lat split. Let's see whether Kanavi, on good form of late, can replicate that in this second game versus Billy Gaming. The lights have been blaring in our eyes. Blazing is perhaps the better one. They don't make noises so much. But to the Rift we go, where the crowd certainly will be making some noise. Some Gyos coming your way. Not too much here happening post Gyos. Want to look at Kanavi. Mantra Q was thrown. But all in all, bit of a heal burn from Monk. Try and get some trade on here early. What that leads to. Dunk on tonight as Cream and that Victor trade out pretty aggressively there in the early game. The health bars burned as the spells have been swung. You know, Mabby, I'm guessing you're not a massive fan of the Trundle into the Zed. We've basically seen it that the Zed manages Trundle okay because the pillar means nothing. And you can still do quite a lot of poke with the shurikens. Yes, the attack speed chomp is annoying. But you have enough ways to get past Trundle that he can't stick on you super well. Theoretically, though a flash on in here in the mid lane is easy kills onto Cream. Wow, wow, wow. Frozen Domain and a flash, and Cream just says, yeah, I'm not going to get out of this. Just eats the first kill. It's donated tonight. I'm going to get chunked a little there. Of course, because of that play in mid flash down, delay the clear a bit here. Zed can probably double scuttle this. Will immediately, I suspect, reset, go bot. Look to fight Trundle with the double longsword advantage. Trundle not having the flash. Zed could dance around that quite well. While bot side, though, has been forced to back. It's interesting. Shadow about to face check this one. Will throw down the ward. Nice chunk from Kanavi. Gets a lot of value onto Shadow. Flash over the wall. Gets more with the Shadow slash. Shadow, I think, is just dead. Nice kill. Shield from Karma is good, but it comes on Grand Entrance. Gets the kill. Root onto that Zed, who's now in danger of something. Gets another with the red buff, with the passive. Flash for the start for the Disintegrate, and they get 3. That is nice. Kanavi starts the game 2-1. They burn all the summoners bot, and despite Shadow finding the early gank through mid, it revealed where he was. And Kanavi resets with a double longsword, and a flashless Trundle gets run down the river.
BLG, their early games are too easy to read. There is something of a crime you can commit within League of Legends, and it's one of the worst you can do, and that is being predictable. BLG, their early jungle support play has been lacking. Kanavi comes in with a red buff where Shadow doesn't have it. As he said, he has no flash. Conqueror starts getting stacked up. Red buff keeps him in play, and Kanavi just keeps going and going. Yes, you do run into the Zyra Rakan, and sorry, the Ezreal Karma with the Zyra Rakan at your back, but Kanavi has so much Conqueror damage going already. He gets a crazy amount of damage down.
That's a good kill mid, though. A return of the favor again. That's that level 1 gank coming back to play. As Kanavi potentially in danger, but hung with a good body block there. Keeps Kanavi in one piece.
Gets both these shields, gets the Q. Cream does die, and that's a kill over towards, an assist over towards Knight. Shadow, I believe, gets that kill. All in all, that's something back. Remember, BLG picked towards the early lanes. The fact that they did give up those early kills is a problem. However, you do look at those lanes. 600 gold in mid lane, 500 gold in bot lane, 500 in top lane as well. Top esports have the flash of the early, the flashiness of the early jungle advantage, but still some threat there.
Ooh, passive auto gets that one in one piece. Hung now looking for potential angle. Remember,
no
on doesn't have a flash. I think that's just a dead Karma. Will get a decent root, but Kanavi eviscerates him with the double Shadow Slash.
And that is a problem. Worth noting, Zed jungle often goes towards, you get your free boots as secondary a lot of the time. He's getting very close towards them. But also even just on your precision runes, you get something like Legend Haste or something like that. Which means that he's got a lot of stacks of that early, actually. An extra 4 of them. You only get, like, what, 10 nacks or so? Something like that. Kanavi is so goddamn fed. And I don't see anyone on BLG who is immune to Zed plays it. You don't have great CC. Now, what we have seen in the past, and I believe Kanavi was the one who fell short to this against Tarzan, actually, was when he played that Zed into him, I believe, at the end of last split. One of the things we noticed was, if you use your Shadow aggressively, a Trundle pillar can still kill you. Yeah. Because then you don't have your Shadow to go back over the pillars. You need to be very wise about how you're using that ability.
Because again, like a Zed in melee of a Trundle is still a Zed in melee of a Trundle. You get chomped, you lose all your AD, and Trundle wins pretty much every duelist matchup right now. If he's on top of you, you're having a bad time. The joy of the Zed is you can sort of dash in, get a lot of damage, you've got more poke, you just have to be quite astute about when you go forwards. 369 with this proxy, though, is potentially allowing Zed to go and have a look for some of these camps. Going to start off on the blue buff, smite early to get the passive rolling, and should be able to pick that one up. No, Bin's here.
Level 6. He has level 6.
Available. All out. Goes on forwards. The Shadow Slash again. Bin has decided to burn the dominance, but Cream is here. A pullback on the Untopo strike. 369 going on forwards. A decent stun with the Ruthless Predator. There's a death mark. And those Crocodile. It's Boots.
Kanavi saves the ult for so long. Basically, 369 hits so much stuff onto Bin, and Kanavi goes, oh, well, I may as well get another one. Remember, this is a flashless Karma. Gets rooted up there. No kill onto him, but still some threat. BLG, they are getting ran about mechanically by Top Esports. Pretty much, their early game plans have just been read by Top Esports. The entirety of this series, Kanavi has been a man unleashed. I think Hung has been playing very, very well too. A player who, again, we keep saying this every time he's showing up. We thought his career might be over this year. He was playing that poorly. But oh my god, Hung has been so good in this series. MVP in Game 1. Fantastic play on the Rakan here in Game 2 as well.
It looked pretty great there so far. And it's worth noting, of course, as actually Kanavi may need to be a bit careful here. He's on a ward. Well, he's slowed down by the Mantra Q. Will shadow out. It should be fine. But the red buff, blue buff rather, is potentially stolen.
This is the problem. They have no CC. Now, he might be forced to flash here. That was too far, Kanavi. But that is the best they have. They have a Karma W and a pillar. That is it. Kanavi is punished that. Does have a crazy amount of power, but can't exactly go into a 1v3. BLG at least managed to get away that summoner from Kanavi.
Get the blue buff as well, and the Zed without the flash, making aggressive plays with the shadows as Kanavi has been. He's still only got an Eclipse. He can still die. The problem is, of course, because he is so fed, pretty much everyone is at risk from a death mark. Not much getting away from that one. Jackie low on mana here, and is down quite a lot in terms of the lane right now. 15 or so CS. The early pressure, the early reset has been a little difficult. At the very least, there are some quick assists, but Elkanon have always been very good Ezreal Karma specialists, and they're getting value out of the lane at the very least in that individual moment as 369. Bullying been around here a little bit on this K'Sante now.
Yeah, Elksreal is a thing. He is pretty damn good on that champion, and the Ezreal Karma getting the early laning lead. Losing that skirmish early and dying to Kanavi. It has rocked the win condition. BLG should have been able to play through winning lanes. They're even, and actually behind in gold. Why, that Knight doesn't have flash. This is under threat. Hitsu now.
And to the backline they go. Decent knock-up. The stun's good. Knight should just be able to run away, though. They don't quite have a burst at this point. It's only an amp tone, really, in inventory for damage from Cream.
Knight's actually running the phase rush as well, which I didn't realize. Often he would be running the damage stuff. It allows him to walk out safely. That does lose that. Does lose that ultimate, though. Kanavi gets 3 grubs. He's had a decent amount of CS. He's got Krugs to take still anyway. He's very, very happy. 369 did just dash forward. He might be dead there, actually. No, Kanavi, Shadow rather, heading back down the river instead.
Hung actually in danger. Will battle dance into the grand entrance into the battle dance. I do apologize. Get those skills the right order. Shadow now rooted, though. Reminder, does have to burn the flash. Dominus pop from Bin. Flash to 369, looking for the W, will then get over the wall as Kanavi looking in for a 1v3, but it's left the rest of the team split off. Elk having a flash, but he can't flash for enough. Surely the Arcane Shift does get him out to safety.
Elk survives, but Top Esports blowing so many flashes is a huge issue for BLG. Top Esports can use their flashes quite liberally because there's not that much CC which kills them if they don't have that. On the other side, BLG, if they don't have flashes, how do you escape a Zed jumping on you? How do you survive someone like Annie walking at you aggressively? And of course, the Rakan looking for knockups as well. Top Esports, by blowing those summoners, are removing BLG's ability to survive their next play.
Very much so. Thornmail now done from 369 as well, because at least early on, most of this damage is going to be AD. Kanavi is 2k ahead of basically anyone else in the game right now. That is remarkable. Okay, more like 1,500 gold, but still, that is like 30% more gold than pretty much everyone else. And all of this starts off what looked like a fantastic play from Shadow. Level 3, ganks mid, doesn't, basically throws down a frozen domain, flash chomp, kill on screen, keeps going. But it slows down clear enough into a Zed of all champions that Zed knows exactly where he's going to be. Bot side skirmish happens, Na'Vi gets fed, and the early laning leads were good from BLG, have now amounted to not very much because, as you noted, really the way they won this game was lane priority into full court press because their CC is, on the whole, pretty damn limited.
I'm very impressed with Top Esports' early game. I think their early games have been really, really cool to watch, honestly. I've been a big fan of them.
And a reminder, back to winter, that's what we were really loving about Top Esports. The early game snowballs were fantastic. Hung, flash engaged with the quickness. Remember, On has no flash. We'll get a renewal down, but there's a death mark waiting. And On, unfortunately for you, that sentence will not be abstained. Gonna try and find the engagement onto Shadow. Looking for a bit more. The frozen domain is in. TP's in from Knight. Hung might also be in danger. We'll try and battle dance and breaks the tether. And Cream can keep looking. He's got a molten shield. And that ability to eventually get stunned as Jackie Love in danger. As the Dominus, the slice, the dice is still gonna flash, still gonna barrier. Needs to be wary about burning that barrier. It's not the best angle there for the feathers. Then won't want to go any further because he doesn't have the flash quite yet. Just about coming off cooldown shortly, I believe. And it indeed is now up, but Jackie's going to have to reset Bin. Gets himself an ultimate, but not too much more. Jackie holds his nerve.
Yeah, been still pushing this top side. Doesn't have the grubs to do that much with it. 369 will be able to walk up here. It'll be a plate from the Demolish. That's not that bad, but Top Esports, they have blunted the early game of BLG. They needed laning leads, and they have some of them. I just don't think it's enough for the composition they need. But on trying to use the limited CC they have, someone needs to walk over and give him an E-target. Someone needs to walk over here.
There we go, just back in range. There's the stun timed up. Jackie also coming on over. Another stun available potentially onto Kree. Battle Dance Part 2, turning it around. Frozen Domain is there, and the shields from Karma allow BLG to reset, but they can't get towards that Rakan in time.
This is why they needed those early leads. They do not have CC to play from even or behind. Top Esports have so much ability to play through like their own kind of skirmishes, right? This Rakan basically never going to be caught. No one's going to stop them. No one's going to stop this 6-kill Zed. BLG, their drafting today has been poor.
I will also say again, this is a game where a Zed with this kind of lead, for all that Faker is saying the game has gotten harder to solo carry, Kanavi can solo carry this at this point. Anybody will die to the Zed. He's the same level as Knight with a lot more scariness in his inventory. Down comes the Arcane Storm. Hung will make it. A quickness, a flash on top of the Rakan. Battle Dance out, will be traded back, but 369 finds a solo kill on Bin.
Bin is solo killed by his old rival, 369. Regards from that era of BLG versus JDG. 369 Kasante turns up to play. Top Esports will push into multiple lanes. Now Jekyll does have to deal with the Trundle walking at him.
Does get chomped. There's the pillar. Flash has got a barrier, but on the other side goes Shadow. I think he's just dead, and Jackie goes, okay, at this point, I'm done.
That's a good punishment there. However, still, Plate went in there. Plate's going to go down in top lane and bot lane. Top Esports pushing in all 3 lanes at once. BLG can't stop the pushing all of them. They get something in mid lane, lose bot lane, and they're going to lose most of top lane too.
Yeah, they are. Again, Zed with 3 grubs. He might be a jungler, can still do quite a lot of work. Shadow trying to do the same on the Trundle, and should be able to get the mid-tier 1, which is valuable.
That is. No, that is a good response. In terms of what they can actually do there, it's pretty good. Mid lane outer turret, never a bad thing to get. The most important turret in the game in many ways. So what the hell happened here? Hit by a long range Q3, walks up, trades with the tower and the grass, shield bash in there as well. I'm going to imagine he just hits a load of other skill shots. What happens here? W's him out, gets that ult, and then just gets the W reset as well. Bin tries to flash away, not nearly enough. 369 punishes a greedy overstay for the wave.
By the way, speaking of greed, Kanavi's greed has paid off. 7-1 has just finished his 2nd item. That is a Black Cleaver done on Zed.
Oh dear. Now, a lot of the time, you can go towards something like a Hubris 2nd item, which is really nasty, but Black Cleaver is so good into the likes of, you know, the Renekton and the Trundle. The amount of cooldown reduction you get, the movement speed also to chase people down when you start hitting people with the cleave on it as well, the Rage passive effectively. I mean, Kanavi, we haven't seen him kill too many people recently because he did all of that early on, is in such a brilliant point of power.
Yeah, about 1,500 to 2,000 gold now are Top Esports. The majority of it, in no surprise, is on Kanavi Zed, who is going to force a heal off on. Nice Shadow back to avoid the Mantra Q. Does end up getting chunked, though, by that Hextech Ray and the True Shot Barrage. Kanavi now at about half. Needs to be a bit wary. The Subject Gates come on down on top of him as well. Do they really want to play for this Herald? I think they're going to try and steal it with the Shurikens. 369 around is rooted up by the side of that Karma, courtesy of a focused resolve. Battle Dance out on Top Esports just have to give up the contest. Another Bottle Rocket comes up, and that pillar of Soda will not turn into a Mentos Rocket.
Not quite fizzed up enough to do that. Bin will take the top lane out of turn. BLG claims some gold back. Who's teleporting in? That's the Annie. Not able to do much except claim a wave, I suppose. Hang on a second. Kanavi, does he feel like he has? I mean, he has Deathmark. He has Eclipse. See, here comes Hung. That's probably a dead Renekton. Wow.
Nice. Shadow slash Shuriken gets the kill, and Hung and Kanavi as a pair have been so terrifying. They're so mobile.
This should have been a hubris game from Kanavi, actually. This should have been a hubris. Think about how many freaking stacks he'd have at this point. Pushing him towards the top lane out of turret. They'll answer tit for tat in the turrets there. Remember, there's still a death.
Oh, he's dead. He's dead. He's not going to need to burn the ult. He just autos him.
He just kills him with the red buff, the Conqueror, and just some basic auto attacks. Kanavi slaughters on with the double shuriken. Kanavi making it look like a solo queue montage.
Contempt for the weak is a hell of a passive. Knight will now be able to get the turret on the other side, and in fairness to BLG, they are at least getting these structures. Top Esports still feeling very pleased about the state of the game right now, even if BLG with that structure gold are staying within something resembling touching distance. They're only about 2,000 gold behind.
Cream has been someone who's, of course, had a little less success in this game. I don't think that's important, though. You can just be a CC bot when your teammates are this fed. That's actually not a problem here. Elk does have flash, and he has E as well. A little bit of damage coming back. He's got the 2 item spike just in the next base. Shame we won't have that for the next dragon. On still has flash. Eclipse bot does so much work.
It does. The swoon is always a possibility. See a little anti-heal mark there. Does Zed get anti-heal in his kit?
No, he doesn't. Luckily, he has a great deal of other things, Sam, but not that.
I saw that little heart turn up by Karma saying she had anti-heal up. I'm trying to figure out from where. Oh, it's the red buff, possibly.
Red buff doesn't give you that either.
No.
What it will be is the armor down from Black Cleaver.
That's the mark I'm seeing. You're absolutely right.
Yeah.
Why am I seeing an anti-heal mark? It wasn't an anti-heal mark.
Yeah, you do get that from Black Cleaver. It also shows up on Wukong's Q and stuff
It does.
like that.
You're right. That would make a lot more sense. I just misread the symbol.
Zed has some strange stuff in his kit, which has changed over time. You know, his W used to give him AP scaling bonus AD. Good chunk there onto On. Still has that flash. If On isn't full HP, he basically can't be CC.
Gets into the Herald, battle dance away. Kanavi still waiting. Does get knocked up here, but actually, where is On going? On double knock.
What are you doing?
Still driving. Where is he going? Oh, Jackie the other side. Kanavi now going to have the in the backside of Elka just get that kill onto the Ezreal. Shadow in the frozen domain. The turnaround from BLG not bad. On gets how many knockups?
More than enough somehow.
I don't know what to do about that one. Featherpool comes on through. Hung might be in danger here. We need to get over the wall. Oh! And gets blasted by a Siphon Power.
How did On just do that? Bin, Bradley failed. This is a huge play. BLG, Bin! This is the play they're looking for.
Oh, that's beautiful. Kanavi's about to get rooted. Tries to flash. No Shadow. They're going to get everyone. Wait, Kanavi with the shield. Doing a fair amount of work. Will finally fall. But they get nearly an ace.
No chance for Kanavi at the end of that play. BLG, through the most ridiculous of Herald plays, clean up top esports and get themselves into a gold lead. Magnificent driving from On. I had no idea where he was going, but wherever he was headed to, he was making an impact. Can't stop. Oh, he can stop the recall. Actually, hang on. Knight's in changing now. Is there a teleport coming through? 369. I wonder if he could have teleported behind mid lane and looked for the kill.
To stop the dragon, though.
It'll stop the dragon. That's important. That is really important, actually. The initial play, I mean, Cream just gets massively outplayed. Cream's, but Bezion just says, I'm going to tank your stun. Double knockup. And just go around 3, 4. He knocks up Hung twice in the same play. Of all that's happening, Jackie Love is left out. Yes, there's an alt forwards from Kanavi, but Elk manages to just about, you know, buy enough time. Elk dies, but then look how extended top esports are into this play. They've not been able to get the clean play. Jackie Love got chunked out by the Ezreal earlier, and Kanavi doesn't have a death mark anymore.
Heal, Frozen Domain, Inspire, an Interrupt on Hung getting over the wall. Bin turning up from the flank with the dominance while 369 doesn't. We're back to live though. Quickness comes on down and On. Blow a load of his summoners in the last play. There's no Herald to save him this time. Death mark in the backside. Gonna get a junk on tonight. Flash away from the Untofo strikes. Elk survives well, but they lose a support. Shadow down to about a third. Bin in the backside. Strike breaker slow, but can't really get onto anyone. Valuable footwork shield will deny the Arcane Storm too much work. The Hextech Raise though still proving nasty here.
Top esports will move towards that dragon as BLG. They don't have a Herald for this one. Yes, Knight is 4, 1, and 3. This victor is scary, but there's nothing to set up for it. If top esports don't overstep into a Trundle Pillar, it's a problem. Hang on, Bin, you don't have flash or roll, and neither does Knight.
He's dead. Nice pickup. Jackie gets donated that one. Heal now from Hung, looking for an angle to the backside. Gets the grand entrance onto the Trundle, but dies for it. Had no one to battle dance to.
Hang on, Bin does have E, doesn't have that Dominus still. It was a good pick on tonight. They could have gone on to Bin instead, but let's be honest, you never really want to leave Victor to free fire. Top esports losing their heads a little bit now. Kanavi losing quite a lot of chunk in quite easy plays about the place. Hung jumped in and went a little too far, and you see how Knight just on the side of this play is actually quite a significant threat. On goes down. You can see that Kanavi doesn't get what he wants to. Ults on to Knight to try and get out. Not a great combo from Kanavi there, actually.
Yeah, it does get over the wall as a result, but can only force some flashes. But hey, you take what you can get. They did kill Knight just after again. A lot of BLG's gold currently is actually coming from, yes, the shutdowns, but also the element of just picking up all those structures. They're 4 turrets to 2. That wave in mid lane in particular, proving really annoying because extended lanes versus all of this rundown, all of this speed up as a Xayah, not exactly fun.
Not exactly easy to play about, is it? Kanavi. What's his next item going to be? Shojin maybe actually could be on the next back.
Derek's a possibility as well, maybe.
Not for Zed. Nah, not for Zed. You're not really. Yeah, it's Shojin because what it ends up means is that if you go in with Conqueror, Shojin ends up stacking. Your Deathmark pops for the extra damage too.
True.
Really, really nasty, isn't it? 369 1v1ing Bin. Down gold, of course. Did get that solo kill earlier, but Bin does win this extended 1v1. 369 needs to be quite careful here. He does not win the extended trade as much as he wants.
And by the way, he's down about 50 CS here as well. He missed the W. Got to go all out. And the turn this one with the Dominus back. Footwork begins to go away. Is anyone joining? I don't think they are. So it's just going to be the extended 1v1. I think Bin just wins this at this point. 369 might be having his just desserts from earlier on. Will try and footwork away. Decent shield. Gets another one. Can look to get on the Bin. Kasante! Flash away from Bin. Still can look to make this one work. Both top laners low. Control wall buying space for 369. They're low. Is anyone joining? I don't think so. It's an honorable 1v1. It leads to neither death, but that means he can start a Vatican on the other side.
Wait, with Undead, they've lost a lot of their enchanting power too, of course.
When did
Shadow
Undead
can walk over. He died during that play. You could see it in the bottom right-hand corner on the kill feed. It slipped by us. Vatican now getting started. Perhaps an int could work in favor of BLG.
Stun onto Shadow, TP from 369. Bin doesn't have the teleport, by the way, so that means it's just a straight Atacon. They slaughter it in a matter of seconds.
369 surviving that is crucial. It means he can walk up to secure that tri-brush. 369 very nearly won that. Hang on a second, there could be a pillar here. Extreme needs to be very careful. I think someone needs to roam over to him, actually.
So fast!
Someone needs to roam over to him.
Oh
Cream's
my
going to die here.
days!
Kanavi walked away. Cream has that phase rush. I don't know if it's enough.
Shield overcomes Kanavi. Can maybe look to turn around. Can he get towards another shield? Can't get the stun off in time. And Shadow just runs at him.
He runs at him, but Toppies saw the blue trinket. They should have known that's happening. They let Cream die there. Poor communication from Top Esports.
Bin's just running 1v1 at this. He's in a 1v2. He's gone very deep with the tree shot run. Chunks out Jackie, but Death Market at the backside. Trying to get as much damage down as they can, but Bin is just quick enough out with on speed up.
Yeah, Kanavi misses all the shurikens. Bin has enough HP to go in because of that Top Esports. They're starting to get caught up in BLG's faster style of play than them. And Top Esports lose Cream easily. Kanavi should have headed towards him. He chose not to. And BLG will use the opening there to get themselves this bot lane in a turret. Yes, Top Esports did get themselves the Atacam, which gives them some extra XP, but they're not as successfully making plays around the Zed as they were earlier. Kanavi's not executing that well, actually.
Shadow in the bush, Kanavi genius!
This one is good. This one is good. We just say he wasn't executing. That one was a good one. Need to see that continue. He's actually struggled to match his early game impact. I know he's 11-2-4, but you just look at the last few plays on that bot side of the map and you're like, okay, you wonder if there's something a little more to give that. Instead, players, you have to hold them to the highest echelons of expectations, because goddamn, that champion has a high ceiling.
Does indeed. I think it's still been a good game, but the thing is, with the game state being as it is, there are enough mistakes, enough entrances from BLG who have been making some good comebacks to make this challenging. There is now an arm guard for Knight. A lot harder to blow him up. You've got the Strybreaker, the Black Cleaver. Bin, for all he was down a lot in lane, has caught up more than well enough. It is beginning to get a little bit challenging just in the 1v1s for a lot of the solo lanes, as Cream and 369 in particular, a long way behind. There's that gold swing. It's about a 4k one way or the other.
BLG managing to fight their way back from that. You know, I thought they needed the early advantage. Turns out they're just pretty damn good at team fighting sometimes. Kanavi secures that blue buff, doesn't have the shadow now. Good knock up by Hung to brave by some distance.
The Shurelias were speeding people up, and I think that has been kind of scary. The engage is basically shadow and on, make everyone so damn speedy you can't run away.
BLG now getting great control around this bot side of the map. Hang on, Jackulov, he's struggled a little bit this game. Gets to step forward this time for once, actually. The Ezreal's been chunking out an awful lot. Is a decent item. Jackulov not at something like a Lord Dominates regards to really deal with that Trundle just yet. Pillar could be quite dangerous here.
Next tech raid just shy. Kanavi on a flank angle again, off vision. Nine with the teleport, still has that available. Cream chunked a little low again. Hung caught on top of that gravity of the field, but is able to battle dance out to safety.
BLG, just see how quickly they can push up lanes now. Now they push up that mid lane, push up that bot lane. Top Esports not able to land massive amounts of damage. The Victor doing a great job of being very threatening. And the bonus of something like this Rod of Ages build is that you can actually tangle with the Zed a lot easier. You can step up into the Xayah or something like that. Cream does have flash, but he's caught out a little bit.
There comes the redemption. Will heal people back up again, but it is the chunks, the range that are proving a little problematic. This Annie and this Xayah struggling.
Bin pushing up the bot lane during this as well. Top Esports, even though they have the playmaking of the Rakan, of the Annie, and the extra damage on the Zed too, they're not able to get clean plays. I think Cream has had a very poor game, sadly, for himself. Down 2,000 gold, and yes, part of that is just him giving up farm to other people on sidelines. I also think a good deal of it is just him getting a bit outplayed, you know, on with that Herald earlier. That one's a bit of a freak one. You don't expect that. But Cream struggling to get good value on what should be a champion which solves this game. This is a big change, though.
Oh, boy. That's an important pick. I'm just about alive, flashing over the wall.
Can't quite kill him. Not quite enough damage on the Annie. On blows both summoners, though, and the mid lane turret will fall from this. Good moment for top esports. That should open up the dragon for them.
Again, once you burn your flashes, your life is a lot harder. Dragon's going to get started.
It is. Top esports will be sold point for them on that Infernal Variety. Jackie Love can do plenty of damage to that. It's down to half HP. That'll clean up the rest of it. Ezreal won't secure it. BLG, despite their great fight back in this mid game, they still don't have great ways to deal with top esports if they get into a good position to deal damage. They don't have great CC. They need to start killing someone off who's out of position. The Trundle Pillars and the Karma Qs need to slow people down into grab fields, into death rays, something like that. Top esports, they have so little CC to worry about. That is an inherent advantage for them. 369 pushing at this bot side now. 203, still down 1.6k gold. For Renekton, you expect to have a lead. I do think the Xante is arguably a little more useful now, actually, than the Renekton. We have reached the 28-minute mark. We're getting to the point where we're fighting around big objectives. It's not necessarily about side lane 2v2s in the same way that Renekton tends to win all the time, really. Jackie Love not quite at that third item. Look towards that Infinity Edge. Kanavi heading towards bot side. He will shred this poor Crocodile.
Boy.
Level 16 has flash. Quite easy for him to escape, actually. I don't think they spot him go that far. They'll spot him now. They really want this. BLG, how quickly can they cross map? W misses.
Breaker coming on down there, roaming down. Look how fast they are with the Shurelias.
They are. You have the Rakan teleporting in. He can eat in. Jhin does not have something like that in Xante W.
Look at the mini-map. They've already started at the Baron on the other side. They sped their way over that. They can start rushing this down. That's a Trundle. That's a Knight on the Victor. They can do this damn fast, and Vin's going to get this over here. They had to leave off.
They can't really force it as quick as they wanted. And at the end of the day, it's only the Rakan teleport blown. Kanavi will take the Raptors. Jackie Love caught out in mid lane.
Been on a flank angle. Dominus needs to beware. There's the battle dance going on in. It's on top of the Rakan, who's low but not down. Gets himself enough of a heal with the redemption. 369. Front foot stepping. Chunk onto Bin! Wonderful start on the backside, but it's just Jalen onto Hung in turn, who's blown up by Bin. Death mark into the backside, trying to get damage on Dawn. Flash away from Kanavi, does stay alive, but not before Elk flashes on forwards against the Mystic shot. It's a 1 for 2. They've lost the jungler and the support. And Knight is still full HP. Xante W goes into the enemy team, tries to get out, and might just be able to do so. 369, flashing away from last Ezreal Q. BLG out team fighting top esports. They just can't do the damage onto the right targets. The range from BLG means they don't need damn engage. They just need to keep hitting people with skill shots.
And it turns out that can be damn effective at points. 369 not able to get the great frontline duty, and Kanavi traded his life for a support. A 0-7 support. That is not good enough, Kanavi. Baron will go down, and we were wondering about the execution of the Zed. In that team fight, it was very hard to do so, but doesn't get the value. Baron for BLG sees them into a late game advantage.
Now the Victor is very strong. Here's that replay. Let's have a look at this one again.
Do get Bin coming out on that flank and Hung, the big engage tool. So much of his HP down. Getting damage onto engaged threats gives BLG so much more room for maneuver. Bin, the real hero of this fight, taking down that Rakan means that Ezreal, Victor can play a lot less impeded in this fight, and as we said before, it's not worthwhile for Kanavi to trade his life for a Karma, not with these 0-7.
I get that you're trying to full contact team fight, especially with Bin messing up on the other side, you know, messing up your backline on the other side. It's dangerous, it's difficult. It has proven to be very challenging to manage, especially after what looked like a fantastic stun from Cream.
Top esports have just not been able to use their composition, even against the low CC. I think we're really starting to see the outrange is such a problem. Knight jumping forwards, the phase rush helps him walk out.
Hung's in danger. I think he might just die here and he'll burn out. Yeah, that's him surely burning. No.
Just the Leandri's burn, the last of the Chaos Storm not there, but Knight with the phase rush, fancy feat. He's had a great game on the Victor.
Yeah, he has. Early first blood. Cream on a flank angle, not known as yet. Shadow can end up face checking this. Where's the rest of the follow-up? They're just not there. Looking over the backside is Kanavi. Shield from Knight, though. It means he's not as squishy as he might otherwise be.
Yeah, and also you have that Zhonya, so Kanavi doesn't really want to go into that play. And it's such a fed Zed, but he's not making game-winning plays. He can't quite get that off. And, you know, imagine if that was like an 11 kill, even a Shinzo at that point. You think, dang, Jesus. You have to jump in there and do something else. The Zed, the actual points you can jump into clumped up enemy units is very, very difficult. I think top esports, they've struggled to get their coordinated engage. They haven't had Cream flashing forward and Hung jumping forwards and Kanavi being able to follow up at the same time onto these precious targets. It's hard to do that onto Knight. It's hard really to do that with the Mikhails on on to do that onto Elk all the time either, but I think that's how you got to play. You are slowly getting burned out by the range advantage of the Ezreal and the Victor.
Hung getting run out there with the Frozen Domain from Shadow. Going back away, and again, this is play 1 MVP in game 1, but we've seen this from Hung. Great early plays into maybe overplaying a little in the mid stages, overplaying, getting himself killed on that engage angle.
Infernal Soul now up and available for top esports. BLG playing the second top esports could, of course, give this up. Go for something else. Baron buff is still ticking out. But the engagement top esports, decent bit of hope from Kanavi.
369 frontlining, well, Pathmaker away to safety. Should be okay at this point. Kanavi getting rid of some of that engage. Vision.
Jakilov at his third item now, importantly so. He's not really been able to play that much either. The outrange on the Xayah is really, really nasty for it. Jakilov will have to flash forward in typical Jakilov fashion, going onto the dragon. BLG have allowed them onto the dragon. That's a mistake.
They do it so damn fast. They've got a Xayah.
BLG, no!
Oh, this is going to become a flip. It's taken by Trundle. They win that one, but the Burgers are still on the griddle, trying to turn this one around. They kill off Bin. Nice start. All the while, top esports chucking the backside. Elk needs to hop away. They pull back on Elk. Wonderful for 369. Night Shadow need to run. They got the dragon, but at what damn cost? Nice, still got his Zonyas. Needs to keep running. Sped up by his side from Bao, but a knock up with the Grand Entrance. Kanavi trying to keep stacking that cleaver. That auto, the Conqueror there. Queen can't get in range, and Shadow and Knight retreat.
So the soul has not been claimed by top esports. A good smite from Shadow. Very hard to do that against the feather pullback and the auto attacks from Zed from below half HP. The Baron buff has timed out though, and top esports may be able to push in for an inhib. We'll see. There's an inner turret to go through instead. They'll at least get the inner turret. Mind you that they have 3 grubs. They take towers quickly. It's only going to be the 1 turret. That could have been a game-ending play. Yes, they can. They have the 3 grubs. It helps them an awful lot. They won't be able to push for more, though.
With Shadow and Knight being around, how aggressively they wanted to play that, because Shadow was positioning really aggressively. Frozen Domain. Shadow forwards, on with the Shirelius again. They are so mobile, BLG.
There you are, Knight coming in. He's just coming through into the play. He has that slow through from his compatibilities.
In comes Bin. Look for the angle. The True Shot Barrage got so many members. Top esports so low, and they're so fast. Slow from the Shadow slash actually might be key. Jackie's so down by the smite. He's in danger. Feather pull. GA is not going to be enough right now as he's dead.
Kanavi, what can he do? You have an ult. You have to make this Fed Zed do something, Kanavi.
They just keep running at them. Walking so damn fast. It's a sprint. Usain Bolt would be impressed.
Kanavi just can't find an angle to jump in, and BLG, they find another play off the back of it. The outrange has been disgusting. Engage or no, BLG have held top esports at arm's length, kited them about the map, and top esports have had precious little plays to make.
They literally just ran at the Xayah. She couldn't move fast enough at all.
Jumping forwards, Elk getting jumped on, who has flash, has barrier. I think he's got enough HP.
Does manage to get out, loses about a third of it though. Knight goes golden, gonna get shunted back towards a turret. They've killed off Shadow as well. Nice made to Shadows. Damage comes on down, Elk has to hop away. Barrier working, 369 still so damn tanky. As he gets the footwork back out to safety, they won't end the game.
Oh, the Kasansei has just made themselves late game enemy number 1. What's happening in the rest of the map? Teleport behind. Who's going
Elk's just arcane shifted.
Just arcane shifted. It is the Rakan. There is no ult on Hung. He should be able to get out of this now. His cooldowns are back. Hung, nothing left to do about this one, but does stop the recalls. And now a teleport coming in from Annie. No dragon up just yet. Baron's up in a minute. Things have gotten messy, folks, in case you hadn't guessed that one already. Top esports thought they had a game-winning angle after the last dragon fight, despite not getting the soul itself. Couldn't end the game. Damn near lost it themselves after that point too. We're back to even? Question mark?
And again, I don't think either has really credited just the amount of movement speed differential there would be this game. Like the Victor, the Karma speed ups, all of the speed up with the Shirelia coming on forwards, Frozen Domain, Bin with his slice and dice and the smites coming on through. It's so hard to keep running away from BLG.
Teleport into mid lane. No Baron done on spawn. Dragon up in 2 minutes. Recall for some items. We're basically even on gold, folks. We have some, of course, empowered boots from the side of top esports from feats of strength. Going into the next fights, check those summoners. Watch out for those wrist rockets, as someone famously once said. No flash on that Xayah is huge. It has very little way to fight. Jakilov, it's a difficult comp for the Xayah to play into. Was the early Xayah Rakan pick. Punished in lane by the Ezreal Karma, but could have been worse. The late game is where the Xayahs really struggle to get value. The outrange, the movement speed differential makes it so hard for Jakilov to play.
There's a single flash up currently, and that is on Hung. Ons will be up shortly, but it's not there quite now. Not quite sure that favors.
Yeah, Serpent's Fang onto Kanavi is really important too. It denies a lot of the late game value from the Karma, and it does mean that it's much harder for you to play around, the second shield in a fight or something like that. Ezreal comes up again. All it does is clip through Rakan passive shield. By the way, they're getting up to some pretty high levels too now at this point. Redemption onto Hung, but not onto On. That Redemption, lack of it, could be quite painful. Of course, the Shirelles is valuable, as is the Mikhail's. Not going to deny that, but none of that AoE healing from that item, which is so strong in the current meta.
Clear out this vision, try and hold court. Yeah. They've got the one wall behind them, they know it's there.
Top Esports can give up Dragon for the Baron. Shadow walking in!
No, he's gone. He's just dead. He face checks it. On's now in danger. Dragged all out. They've killed both.
With Dragon in 30 seconds, Baron available, Top Esports have the pick of their late game objectives. They should be able to get Baron quickly, go over to the Dragon, and Shadow's face check may have cost BLG the game.
They walk in the valley of Shadow's death, and now Top Esports will find the Baron at the bottom of it.
Top Esports take the Baron, they'll move towards the Dragon on spawn, and I hesitate to call it Shadow's own fault there because they had to check the Baron, but it was him that clicked into the brush. It was him with the smite that died. And BLG, perhaps it does once again stand for bad late game. Elk, it's got to be a steal. Ooh. Can't do it. Top Esports walk away with Baron and Infernal Soul. Surely a game ender.
I've said that once or twice this week, and it's not proven to be particularly true.
I think with this one, you look at Kanavi on the Zed. I don't think he's had the easiest game on Zed into the late game. He's struggled to make it work, but the extra Infernal Soul proccing when you're getting the damage calculation for the death mark. Stuff like the Xayah Qs as well. Very, very hard for you to shrug off that damage.
Very much so. 4.5 items done for the Cassante. And look, you've got this massive lead for the Victor. The Victor who has been a problem as this game goes on. Credit again to Elk, who's been hitting a lot of damage. I think we'll be seeing some impressive Ezreal numbers at the end of the game. As it stands, Top Esports have managed to right the ship after a mid-game that began to slip away from them. The securing of that Baron and Dragon Soul as well.
Yeah, so, you know, this game started as should have been lane advantage for BLG. Sort of was, but Kanavi's early kills made it much easier for Top Esports to play through the early game. Mid-game hits, BLG claw things back a little bit with their range advantage. Goes again a little bit later. And Top Esports use their vision control to make sure that BLG have to face check, and then their CC advantage ends up being the difference making. You see the tug and push a pull across the game. I do think that Top Esports probably should have had an easier time of it with such a fed Zed. They haven't been able to utilize that easily, and you can just see Jaculov has really struggled to play the game. Does have a huge advantage now, going in towards likely a Bloodthirst to last to shrug off some of that poke. Has a flash, and one flash could end the game now in a good enough fight.
Now going to the ward down on top of Elk. No, that's there. The Shadows and the Shurikens. 5-4 from Kanavi, gets a Shadow Slash down. Actually, that's 369 potentially zoned off, but he's still so damn tanky. Trying to jump on him, but hung in the backside, looking for an angle. As On has been chunked out by Cream and the Tibbers.
Subjugate's down too. They used on to 369. I know it's a lower cooldown at level 16, but 369 happily shrugging that off. Typically, playing a tank into Trundle is death, but 369 doing a good job of using that W backwards to make sure he can survive. Redemption getting some good damage, but that is a Chaos Storm, some damage.
A bit of a job, but he doesn't really do all that much but clear the wave. That's important. Hung ends up taking a lot of damage from Elk at the back end of it, but Kanavi all the while just takes his turret so damn fast.
Yeah, the 3 grubs really helping Top Esports. They couldn't get that earlier on. Does have flash, trying to scan out with his W, if anything, his Q, if anything now. BLG, they had a range advantage, but they can't wave clear through the Baron. They need to survive another 20 seconds. They've lost one turret in the mid lane. Could poke down to Jaculov.
Get a chunk behind. That's John to Jackie. Actually, with the teleport coming on in, this gets interesting. Trying to jump onto Bing. Quickness comes on down. He's going to get charmed up as 369 by space. They should surely kill the Renekton in good order. Kanavi is not here, but he goes all out. Onto On. Flash away from the Karma. My God, the Cassante is tanky. Flash. Deathmark. Back out again from Kanavi, who does go down. The autos were already in the air. Trying to get some damage down, but BLG stand and deliver.
Kanavi fails the play again. The Fed Zed can't hit anything as Elk. Whoa! So close for the double snipe. Top Esports with an Infernal Soul cannot cleanly end the game. The Baron buff times out. Top Esports break the base, but they don't end it. Kanavi on the Zed, so good early, but struggling so much to have impact in the late game.
I want this replay, and I want it slowed down, because I think Elk flashed out of a couple of the Shurikens to make sure he didn't die to the death mark.
Because Kanavi was really out of position. He was pushing mid lane, and he didn't respond that quickly. Now, the first part of this fight, going back onto the Renekton, that was good. They managed to go back on that. 369 probably goes too aggro here. The double knockback, that's fine. I think this ult is too far. It carries him a little further than he wants to. And Kanavi, I don't think he realized where he needed to be in this fight too. He flashes to get the ult onto Elk. Yes, it does mean his flash is down, but he really overplays things. Zed is not a tank. Cannot survive that amount of damage.
costs every flash but Knights. That play is still dangerous for BLG.
And I don't think that Cream has been the main character this game. He's down 4.5k gold. He is still an Annie with flash. With all those flashless targets, one flash Tibbers could end this game now. Kanavi, please don't face check this. Kanavi.
Oh, Shadow back out. He's all right.
No, I don't think he is. The pillar.
The pillar's coming on down. He's surely going to die now. He wasn't all right.
He is not all right at all. He goes in way too deep and dies in the late game, down for a minute. Now, luckily for him, Elder is not spawning now, but without the Zed, and again, there's another poor late game moment for Kanavi on such a fed Zed. This gold lead is such a bait from the jungle. He's not been able to use it at all.
Cream has sold Blasting Wand for Arm Guard. He's still at 2 items at 40 minutes.
Yeah, well, he's given up a ton of farm elsewhere, but he also just has very lacking ability now to impact this game in the same way. There's no cleanse on Elk besides that Mikhail's. If they catch On and Elk in the same play, eventually that can be the death of them. BLG pushing in across the map. Kanavi up in 25 seconds. Baron up in 45. And you'll notice that Top Esports, they won a lot of their last kind of push in this game off of a good vision trap. They don't have that vision control now because Kanavi made such a big mistake by face checking there and dying.
Gold is near enough even. The Infernal Soul makes things a bit different. GA is done for Zion, not the Bloodthirst as we were wondering about. So it has gone towards that second life option.
And normally I don't like that compared to the Bloodthirster. But in this game, you can use the Rakan W to guard the revival. And the same with the Kasante W as well. Especially when you're in that tank form. 369. Oh my god, he is tanky. He's cut the gold lead down to nothing now because he's full build. Actually, Bin is not full build. 369 has knighted him over him. This Renekton, he has one play, and that's get onto a carry and somehow kill them. He lost his GA in the last play. You can argue that, you know, Top Esports, they're playing without a jungler, sort of, if Kanavi's going to be playing like this. However, Bin, the Renekton, is starting to fall off heavily.
Of course, the other side, we are still in this position where this Karma without the flash, Ezreal without the flash. It's a lot hard to play these team fights because the flash is what kept them safe the last two plays. It'd be difficult to do that this time.
Both buffs have spawned, the Baron and the Elder. We have double buffs on each team. Blue buff just fell off for Top Esports. They won't have that. Cream has flash. You see that move away from On.
Kanavi on the flank angle. They get the charm. That's a lot of damage. Shadow's dead.
He's dead again. Shadow dying. Smites down. Bin on the flank. He must save the game. Where is the stun?
Kanavi is in danger. They jumped on a Jackie-Love, but the exhaust, the Zhonya's, they're going to keep him alive. Cream surviving, but they're going to do flashes away from the Arcane Storm. Bin's have to back away. Elk looking for an angle in. Pulled back by the Ozora straight part 3. Cream on a fantastic angle, though. Damage on the backside of Elk. But Jackie gets that Renekton. Kanavi hops back to his Shadow. Elk now in a position. GA on Jackie means the Ezreal cannot do anything more. It's a bird of prey.
Jackie-Love has been waiting the entire game for that fight. Uses his summoners effectively in his ult and will clean up the kills that Top Esports need. They will get the Baron. They will hopefully end the game off of this because I don't know how they'll end it. They can't do it with this one. And BLG lose another late game scenario off a misplay from Shadow.
Who else face checks, you ask, but then you can't do it and then just die. The vision play happens again. Somehow Top Esports, despite not having control, were able to wrestle it and set up a vision trap when they should have had no time to do so.
And, you know, so many people were saying, oh, it's definitely not a honeymoon phase for BLG anymore. I wonder.
Yeah,
BLG, their vision control has struggled. The Baron will go down, and it's another Dragon and Baron over the Top Esports because they are much better as a coordinated team. This is the risk of playing around with changing junglers. It's not even a face check. They have full vision of this. He just goes too far forwards. There were control wards in that brush. They knew who was there. He dies too easily. BLG were looking for a flank on Renekton. Clearly not timed as well as they would have wanted. Honestly, Bin does about as well as you can expect Renekton to do in late game. That is what Renekton does. You can see Elk trying to make use of the space and the separation, but Jackie-Love also manages to do the same. Real credit to him. That max level of that W gives you a ton of attack speed, forces the flash out of Knight as well. That could be important to return to.
He's still got the GA. He's got the Mortal Reminder now. Actually sold the Lord Doms off for a bit more anti-heal.
Jackie-Love has his flash too. No flash on Knight. Got an Elder. I think Jackie-Love, flash, a couple of autos and a pullback. Someone's dead. He is full build on this one.
GA done for Kanavi, by the way, as well, which means he can go very deep with the Elder. Trying to go on top of Elk. He gets him and back out again.
Kanavi gets his 15th kill on the Zed. A difficult game for him despite the scoreline, but that might be the play which ends the game. Bad late game strikes
again. The heroics are there from BLG, but it's still not enough. And again, they walk through the valley of Shadow's death. And unfortunately, Top Esports come out the other side with a 2-0 victory. Promised land and first place for Top Esports.
BLG, despite the good start to the split, have run onto the rocks. Their new jungler in Shadow has struggled this week. I think you can point a lot of fingers, and a great many will be at him. Top Esports, though, do not let that distract from the fact that they played vision control better today. They played so much better than BLG as a team.
That was certainly something, wasn't it? And credit to the side of BLG, right? They managed to come back in that game when we thought they weren't going to be able to do so. Some really good play around the map to get to those structures. The move speed, my days, we weren't expecting it. How many times did they just run at you with Shirelias and Frozen Domain and go, well, damn, I don't have flash, this is over. And, you know, you give those credits where they're due, but it's still a lost series. It's still a 0-2. And Top Esports, 2 very good early games that are a little bit shakier in that game 2 mid-game. A little bit. Very shaky in the mid-game. But there we go.
And Top Esports, I mean, they just came off of a loss to Invictus Gaming. They smashed BLG today, folks. Now, this is the problem with playing silly sods, revolving doors with changing junglers. Your team is so far behind on developing synergy between jungle support and their way that they play the macro. They don't have good vision control. Their early plans are often dismantled by more veteran teams who've settled into their rosters.
Once you've been read, it's a lot harder to play the game in the standard ways.
And so many people are saying, oh, but surely this is not a honeymoon phase now. You just don't know that until you get to this point in the split when they're actually started to get exposed in certain points. How are they going to develop beyond this point is much more important to me.
Alex.
Yes?
I'm worried.
Yeah.
I might need to pull my badge out again.
Which badge?
It's the Fell For It Award badge. Top Esports.
Oh no, the Fell For It Award. Top Esports actually look good. No! How could we fall for this?
Not again, guys. Not again.
Okay. We appreciate you all, of course, joining us for this as well. Thank you for watching us in another day of LPL. My name is Alex, also known as Nymaera. This is Sam, also known as Initialise. We are actual brothers. Yes, we are. And we cast actual League of Legends. This is not an official broadcast of the LPL. There is no official broadcast of the LPL. However, we like to bring you a product which you can enjoy in the same way as an official broadcast. We don't have the bells and whistles for breaks, so we have to have their stream on in the background and whatever. But we hope that you do get to learn something about the teams, learn something about the analysis and the storylines between them as well. And we hope you just generally enjoy yourselves. If you'd like to support us, please like, comment, subscribe, all of the regular things. We have a couple of places you can donate to in terms of subscriptions. There's a Ko-fi, and there's also a couple of subscription links you can go to as well, which support us as well if you want more resources to learn the game of League of Legends.
Indeed, League Mastery is our new sponsor. It's really cool, set up by Hedon. Of course, LEC coach was in NLC and stuff as well. Really cool dude, setting up a really cool website to come and basically make you better at League of Legends in some capacity. Now, if that is learning how to cast, we can help you with that. So that's learning a particular champion, we can do that. Hedon's putting together a really cool guide on how to climb, a bit more holistic look at League of Legends. There's some debates about things like how do you watch League of Legends or how do you watch esports in general. All that kind of thing should be on the website, including some really cool extra bonuses that get you a little bit closer to some of your favorite creators and people to get their insight on cool things.
With that, we'll end the stream now. If you're on YouTube, the show will end here. If you're on Twitch, we'll find someone to raid you over to. Thank you so much for joining us, and we'll see you next time.